Just keep it real. Big John Steel. Tell me how you feel. Convince me where the top go. Just keep it real. Big John Steel.
Tell me how you feel.
Convince me where the top
Taco.
go. Jesus is king. Big John Steel.
Jesus is king.
Big John Steel. Bro, you don't make any sense. Slow down a second, it's making you tense. When I be talking, just don't interrupt. I say the truth, you get salty for what? Give me an argument, not an assertion. I'm almost convinced that you're not a real person.
Hey yo, hello. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. I need y'all to pray for Abby. She's sick and she's still here at work. So be praying for her. And y'all need to be doing this. I just put out a new video right here. Go watch it. Leave this video. Go watch that and come back. Right here. Right here. Go click it. Leave this video. Go here. Go watch that. And then come back. Hey, that's what's up. But if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Click the like button, the share. Do it now. Right here. There's no reason that you should still be watching this live unless you've gone over there and watched that. I mean, I can't make you, but I can ban you from here until you've done it. I'm just saying. Jesus is king. Go watch that video. Go watch it. Abby, start banning people who haven't gone and watched it.
No.
Start banning them. If they don't go watch it, they're not allowed to watch the lives anymore. That's the rule. If they don't go watch that video, they cannot watch these lives anymore. Hey, look, I got a shirt on today. Oh, it's going to do the thing again. Hold on. My chat thing froze. It's going to pop up and actually...
Yes, Sam has donated $2.00 and says I cry when I read 65, 4, 434, and 424. Abby Beta.
Why is it doing that? Is that like a new feature? It updated or something? Hold on. What happens if I click this one? Or is it just what happens when people send in super chats? No, that didn't work. Yeah, no wife beater. No wife beater today. Guys, if you haven't done it, go watch it right there. Spoilers. Right here. Go watch it. Go watch the video. Right? Like, it's been out for 34 minutes. We only got 300 views. We need that at least 1,000. At least 1,000. So if you haven't, go watch that video where I go test 5 Islamic miracles. Personally. Went out and did it myself. Didn't go find someone else to do it or other videos. I went out and did it myself. I did the test. So right there, me and Abby went out and tested it. We went and stood in the rain for you guys. 5 Islamic miracles. So go watch it. Go watch it now. Go watch it now. Leave this live. Go watch it. I'll be here waiting. No, I'll wait.
You're gonna wait for 10 minutes?
Yep. I should see no comments going because everybody should be watching that. Nobody left. Why do you hate me so much? Why do you guys just like to come here to watch me suffer? That's the reality of it. You guys aren't fans of Big John Steel. You're fans of watching a man torture himself day in and day out. Let's go watch Big John Steel get ridiculed and mocked by the atheists and the Muslims. Let's go do that. Yeah, you can watch it at 2 times speed. That's fine. That's fine. Those are Canadian cows, John. They don't understand Arabic.
I mean, fair.
I wonder if anybody's going to make that comment. Oh, the cows clearly did not understand Arabic. If they understood the Arabic, they would get it. Those are Canadian cows. Where's the video? It's on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube right there. right there. Just go to my YouTube, click videos, latest, click it, boom. Or you can just search Big John Steele. I tested 5 Islamic miracles. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. I mean, even Inspiring Philosophy watched the video, and you guys aren't going to watch it? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Yeah, we want to do this route. Just so you guys know, we want to do this route with videos, where we actually go and make videos instead of just debates. I want to make videos. I want to make content. I want to have fun. I want to do things.
Go on field trips.
Go on field trips. Abby had a great time.
I did have a great time.
She did, and she still doesn't know how to use a dang microphone.
I'm so stuffy.
She's so freaking cute. As a non-believer, the Quran does cause me to cry because it's so annoying to listen to. Nothing makes me cry like Surah At Talaq. Grown man wants 1,000 views in an hour. Yes, I do. I don't get why that's an insult. I don't get it because that's literally what people on YouTube do for a job, man. All right, let's do a quick prayer. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you for all that you give. Allow the video to do well, and also allow the Holy Spirit to move through us today as we have conversations. Allow it to guide us. Don't say things that are stupid or wrong or something that you don't want us to say. Let us have the ferocity of Paul, but also the kindness of Jesus when needed in those situations. And just walk with all of us. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button, sharing live, doing all the things you need to do before we get into the topic. Let's get centered. Let's get into the center. Let's get into the mood. Let's do it. Wait. Hold on. Apostate Prophet commented?
Stand
No way.
fast. Stand fast.
Sick.
Christians, believers, soldiers of the Most High. Steel
go.
your hearts. Grip your weapons. Fix your eyes on the enemy, for he stands before us now. This is not the hour for fear. This is not the place for retreat. This is the field where legends rise or fall. A day may come when our shields are broken, when our blades run red, when our bodies are cast to the dust. But it
did
is
too.
not this day. A day may come when evil marches unchecked, when the enemy believes we are scattered and weak. But it is not this day. This day, we make war. We strike with holy fury, with fire in our lungs and steel in our hands. We charge with the roar of heaven behind us and the wrath of righteousness before us. Let them hear the thunder of our
Let's go.
voice. Let them see the fire in our eyes. For we are not merely men. We are the army of the living God. Raise your swords, warriors. Raise your shields, defenders of the faith. Today we don't run. We ride. We clash. We conquer. We bring the storm, we bring the reckoning, we bring the war to their gates. By the blood of the Lamb and the power of his name, we will not fall. We will not fall. Now fight, fight for glory, for honor, for the King will not fall.
Let's go. Gets me every time. I wonder how long it's going to get before it gets old to me. It's already old to Abby.
Yeah.
not even like phased to tell me that it's old. No, just yep. She hated that the first time I showed it to her.
I liked it. It's just so long.
It's 2 minutes long. It's a 4-hour live. Proportionately, it makes up less than like 0.5%. You guys tell me when it gets old for you. Look, I got a bruise on my face. All right, today's topic. Let's get into it. Today's topic is: if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. I didn't put place in there, but would be better. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Join here at tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteele10. Password 12345. You got coffee? Yes, it is coffee. Yeah, a little iced coffee. A little iced coffee because it's still hot. We're in some heat over here. I'm with Abby. It was all the first time I heard it. Okay, well, Abby, do a poll. Abby, do a poll.
Don't need to do a
No, I want to do a poll. We're here for the audience. Audience, do you want to keep the speech or do you want to get rid of the
You
speech?
just do it in the chat. Because I just made a poll. I don't want to make another poll and have to make the poll again.
That's your job. That's what I hired you to do. That's like I hire you to work at McDonald's and I'm like, Abby, you need to serve them a burger. I already served a burger. I don't want to, if I serve them a burger, they're gonna have to serve another burger. And I don't want to serve burger.
Everyone says keep. It's all good.
I don't want to do my job. I don't want to do it.
Some people said that that's Bert, and which is funny because last night that's what John was like. Bert's voice is the speech guy. I was like, that is not Bert. Bert's not an old man.
It's not old.
It is old.
It's just based. That's all it is.
No, that's definitely like an old man.
All it is. All right. So yeah, everyone should follow Christian morals. The world will be better. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteel10. Password 12345. We do got a guest. Let's bring them up. Laban.
Hey, man.
Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Doing good. My age is I'm 27. Yeah, 27. Yeah.
All right, man. If everyone follow Christian morals, the world will be better. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, what kind of Christian morals are you talking about? Are you talking about like only the New Testament morals or the OT morals too?
Those aren't Christian morals. Those are descriptive texts in a document.
Okay, but you do get your morals from the book, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah. So Christianity has pulled a lot from Jesus's teachings and God's teachings throughout history. Yes.
Yeah, and God's teachings and Jesus' teachings is in the Bible.
But that's not what Christian morals are. So if you're just
Okay,
going to
can
pull
you
up,
tell
if you're just going to pull up a descriptive text in the Bible, right, that's not what Christian morals are.
Can you tell me what morals
So
you talking about then?
So Jesus says, if you love me, you'll follow my commandments, right? And it's the summary of 1,053 commandments that Jesus gave in the New Testament. But then there's also church tradition that's been passed down throughout generations that we adhere to, which is basically summarized under 2 commandments. Love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself.
Love God with all your heart and love your neighbors as yourself.
Yeah. Man, I'm
Well,
beat up today.
well, that-
bruise here, bruise here, bruise
Well,
here.
well, that doesn't really tell you much, though, does it?
What doesn't it
Only
tell
those
you?
2 commandments. For example, let's say I've seen like an example before where have you heard about the moral experiment where if you switch a cable or something, you can choose to sacrifice 1,000 persons.
I have no idea what you're
if you-
talking about.
Have you seen that it's like a moral thing where there's like a train track and there's on two
The trolley
there's 2 train
experiment?
tracks. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
I just told you it's the trolley experiment.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So if you do switch the cable or the track from where the train
This
is
has
running.
nothing to do with what we're talking about, right? It's a trolley problem for a reason.
Yeah. Well, my point is, what you're saying is like very like general, and you can't really derive morality, like personal morality out of it.
You can. Christians have a certain moral standard, moral code they've been living by thousands of years.
And that moral code has changed throughout time, though.
Like what?
Yeah, same has donated $5.00 and says POV. You are in a field, arrested for harassing donkeys and cows with Surah al-Baqarah. Your charges are being dishonest and noise pollution.
Dang.
GG $.
Thank you. I thought I turned that off. Sorry. Sorry, bro. Yeah. So what has changed?
Yeah. So well, back in the days, the Christians they did allow, for example, slavery, and they do not now, and they cite the scripture, and they did cite the scripture before to justify slavery.
Yeah, so those Christians took parts out of the Bible and created a new Bible called the Slave Bible because they knew if they gave them the whole Bible, they'd realize they were made in the image of God and that they were equal just to them. So allowing something to be does not mean that is the standard, nor is that Christian morals. So it's not something that's changed. It's just something that, hey, at one point it was allowed based off societal standards, but Christians have always said that we are all made in the image of God and we're all equal. There was just different standards and different roles. Major John came in with $2, says, yo!
Major John has donated $2.00
Why is that on?
and says you.
I thought, how do I turn that off, man? Okay, hopefully it's off now.
Well, there are like some scriptures that you can say that, you know.
Okay,
it doesn't make
even if it did change, what would be worse in society today by holding to Christian morals? Yes, Abby?
today.
Shorts.
Okay, well, if we do look at today, you know, if you do
Open the floodgate.
if you do look at, like, you know, the so-called, like, the Christian nations, they are the ones, you know, who are perpetuating a lot of
What Christian? Which nation is a Christian theocracy?
yeah, you know, United States of America, I would say.
United States isn't a Christian theocracy.
What do you mean by theocracy?
It's not run by Christians.
Well, when they do stuff, they do in the name of God, and they are like Christians.
No, there's a
Leaders.
huge issue in the United States where people are constantly fighting about the fact that they want to separate church and state, and Christians shouldn't be running government, and they want to separate the values. Now, what you're saying is that there are Christians who are leaders, but it's not a Christian-run country. It's not a theocracy.
Yeah, well, maybe. Okay, would you say there are any Christians country in the world right now?
Not that I know of.
So there aren't one Christian nation in the world.
I'm not saying there isn't. I said I don't know of any.
No, but I'm asking you now. Do you? So you don't know any Christian nations?
That's what I've said 3 times now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I was just like checking. Okay, okay.
You're still not giving me a Christian standard that we hold to that would make the world a worse place. You're just kind of all over the place and doing like whataboutism. So do you have a point where it's like, hey, this is what Christians hold to and it's wrong and it doesn't make the world better?
Yeah, but the problem is, you know, there aren't. You are saying you don't know of any Christian nations. So yeah, and I don't know
What does
how
that
say
have to do with anything?
Yeah, but then we would know what Christian morals, the actions of the Christians are.
Could you have Christians that do not behave in the way they should?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the point is if everyone followed Christian morals, not if everyone was a Christian. That's not the statement here. So if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. So can you give me a Christian moral that would make the world a worse place?
Yeah, and the Christian morals is just, you know, the 2 points that you said.
That's the summary of it. There's a lot more, right? Jesus gives 1,053 commandments. I'm not going to list 1,053 right now.
Can you just give me some more examples?
Yeah, so the sacrament of marriage would be one of them, right?
Okay.
Not having interest, right? If you lend money, to love your enemy, to forgive 70 times 7, right? There's a whole bunch of them.
Okay. Let's talk about marriage. You do believe in marriage. Do you believe that a woman can divorce her man?
No, a woman can divorce her man under certain circumstances.
Under one certain is only under one condition, yes?
There's 3 conditions. So for one condition is if your spouse becomes a non-believer, right? Then you can divorce them. And then the second condition is if they cheat on you, right? And then the third condition is an acts of abuse. But this would have to be brought forward between the church, and the church would have to make that decision on whether or not they can absolve the marriage.
Yeah, but that abuse is not in the Bible. It's only
again. You're holding to sola scriptura. Remember, I said there is also thousands of years of church tradition.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, like, as I do see it, you guys added on what Jesus taught then.
No.
Because Jesus taught, you know.
No, now you're changing the topic, right?
No problem. No problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Michael Evans came in $5, says, check out the Frank Turek, Jay Smith interview. Interesting dismantling of the three legs of Islam, Quran, Muhammad, and Mecca. I'll have to check that out one day.
Well, I don't think I have anything more to add.
All right, man. So that's it. Are you an atheist or are you Muslim?
I'm Muslim.
All right, man. All right. Appreciate you. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Michael Evans has donated $5.00 and says, check out the Frank Turek / Jay Smith interview. Interesting dismantling of the three legs of Islam, Quran, / Muhammad / Mecca.
That should be turned off. Why is that on all of a sudden? Well, let me see if I can turn that off. Give me a second. Boom. Okay. Turned that off. Now I have to take that link and, well, no, it should just be off now. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see if it's off. Okay. Guys, if you want to join, today's topic is if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong, win a taco. You can join at tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteele10. That's 10, password 12345. I should actually probably make that not capitalized so it's easier to read for people. Let's.
Good morning, Mitchell.
There, that should be easier for people to read now. Boom. And password is 12345 if you want to join the conversation. But yeah, if not, make sure you're smashing the like button, sharing the live. Let's see. Somebody just send a super chat. Let's see if it makes that weird sound. Let's see. Hold on.
Mitchell, I'm so sick.
A snack for Allah was a 6-year-old. Ooh.
I can't breathe through my nose.
Yeah, she's pretty sick. And I'm feeling it. So I'm starting to feel it now too. So F you for that.
It's not my fault.
It literally is your fault.
Ramilio has donated $2.79.
Okay, I gotta see if I can
snack
fix
for
that.
Allah was 6-year-old Aisha.
Because I can't have that coming up. I can't do that, man. That's gonna get me bananaed so fast. All right, copy link. Okay, just give me 2 seconds, guys.
That's so strange.
Okay. Hopefully that worked. We'll find out. We'll find out later. All right, let me bring up a guest. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
All right, man. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place.
Can you just give me 1 second? Just give me 1 second, okay?
No, I'm going to jump on to the next person. You can come back when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So you're the one screaming in the chat that you wanted to come up. So if everyone followed Christian morals, it will be a better place. Go ahead.
I don't think so. Let's start with a Christian woman or woman in general, according to the Bible, having to marry the rapist as a virgin.
Yeah, that's not a Christian moral.
Why does Jesus confirm it then?
It's not a Christian moral. You're arguing something that's different. You're arguing whether or not Christians are following all the rules of the Bible. That's a different topic, right? Can you show me one Christian church that says that you're supposed to do that?
Okay, so then we could go by the age limits from church fathers, right?
So again, can you show me one church that says that a
What
50-year-old
source do you use?
man, a 50-year-old man can marry a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old?
Yeah, what can I use? Can I use the Bible?
Right. So do you understand the topic, or are you just going to point out a whole bunch of descriptive things in history?
Michael Evans has donated $2.00 and says annoying interruption sponsored by ALC.
Why is it still
T-Bone.
on?
Just let me tell you, Satan couldn't reach us, so he gave us Christianity. Is the biggest filth and violence and everything you gotta know.
Yeah, I thought you were full of shit right off the start. All right, Fresh Bueller, let's see if yours comes in, and then let's see if I can fix this. Why? I have it turned off. Why is it happening? Um, okay, let's see now. Text to speech should all be turned off. Well, they didn't come in with fresh Bueller's.
Yet. It's been like delayed.
Testing the text with Fresh Bueller has donated Ka $20.00 and says, Lord, bring healing and strength to the host and his wife.
Thank you.
Comfort them, restore their health, and fill their home with peace and your presence.
Thank you.
In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, I think that will turn it off.
There's another one, so we should see.
This is going to be a rough live. I did not turn. It just all of a sudden came on its own.
Yeah, same has donated $2.00 and says annoying interruption too also by ALC.
This was all a trick just to get more of you guys' money. No, I really do want to turn it off.
Mitchell has donated $2.00 and says I want to try.
Why is that on? There's zero reason that should be on. Okay, hold on. Fade out. Okay, that's good. Let's just start at the bottom rather than the
Tribute
top.
Center has donated $1.99 and says interruption courtesy of Tribute Center.
We're gonna make bank today, baby. Yeah, just looking at all the settings. There's so many settings here. So I gotta really look through all of them.
Gabriel Valencia has donated
There's another
$2.00 and says reaching for that next tax bracket.
I even have it muted. Like the mute button is on. Game options, cloud.
Forgive Repent has donated Ka $2.00 and says Christ is King.
This is going to be a rough live. This is going to be a rough live because it's turned off. Hold on, let's reset it. Service disabled. Leave it on? No, because then we can't have conversations with people. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, same has donated $2.00 and says raise the tax bracket, y'all. ALC and Tribute Gang.
That didn't work. I thought, okay. Rebooting live, I don't think will do anything because this happened last time too.
But you turned it off last time.
So
what
I
did you
did the
do?
same thing that I
Jacob
did this
Nathaniel
time.
has donated $2.00 and says had to.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if there's a setting here.
Richie Lucero has donated $1.99 and says leave it on John.
There's got to be all the settings are off. I've triple checked. There is no text to speech service that's turned on right now.
Ask ChatGPT.
Okay.
Citizilla 90 has donated $1.99 and says let's goo. AI voicey for the win.
Oh my god. I mean, at least we're making money. Okay, how text to speech is still playing.
Nerdicidal has donated $2.00 and says it's an oboe because it's injured.
He said an elbow, which is funny.
Okay, wait, what?
Gabriel Valencia has donated $2.00 and says, or maybe,
Go to task
this will be the
manager?
best live ever.
Not if I can't bring up any guests because you guys won't shut up. I won't be able to bring up a single guest if all you guys do is yap the whole time. Okay, it says go into task manager. And then hold on, do what? No, I don't want to end the whole thing.
RUSH Japanese letter P has donated $1.99 and says this stream is brought to you by Pilk. Pepsi Milk.
Oh my god. Okay. Why? At least Abby's having a good time.
I am. Daniel says, "Oh, now John don't want our money."
Romanian car thief has donated £1.99 and says wallahi finished.
Okay, apply that there. Then let's go into here. No, not that one. This one. Okay. Maybe that'll work. While we're waiting, let's bring up a guest. And hopefully it fixed the problem. If not, the guest is going to have a rough time. You haven't heard a single... True, you haven't. Abby's supposed to be on the sound cue, but she doesn't.
I was about to do that, but...
Oh, that person didn't come in.
Well, the next one didn't come in, so I think you did it. But now you need to read it.
I wish there was a way where I could click it and it would read it.
The $10 is where you're at.
Super chat open guest roast session. I think I did fix it though. Alex just came in with 99 cents. There we go, baby. We lost our chance to actually make money this time. We lost our chance to actually make money.
We had an idea where people could roast John if they send in super chats.
We could do that. We could do that at the end of the live. We could just turn that setting back on and then just do a roast John session. And see what happens. I don't think this person's going to connect. All right, guys. The world, if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteel10. Password 12345. Did you open the floodgates on the shorts?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I've lost all guests. Maybe I should turn the TikTok sound back on. I wish there was just a button you could click, but there's not. You got to go into the thing, take the link out, put it back in. It's a whole thing.
Old Cheek It Up says,
oh, I did.
Shani God's word is no joke.
Wait, that wasn't a super chat though.
What was that?
Okay, let's just. I didn't even click it.
Melinaki says, Hail Satan.
What is going on? These aren't even super chats.
Are you clicking on them?
No.
Uh-oh.
Are we possessed?
Maybe.
Oh my god. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm good. 29 years.
All right, man. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I just want to get clarity. Is this sort of like a pragmatic consideration, or is it truth? Is it a truth claim?
What do you mean?
In terms of like the underlying morality.
I don't understand your question.
So like when I'm saying like pragmatic, I'm just saying like if people were to just adopt this moral system, would that confer better outcomes, irrespective of whether the underlying moral system is in fact true? Or are you also implying that it is true, and then that's why we ought to adopt it?
Both.
Why people should adopt it?
Both.
Okay. I guess what is the justification for that?
Which one?
For the truth part.
Oh, I don't want to have a debate of whether God real though. So we'll just do the first one.
Okay, well, that might be a little bit boring because I think based on some of the empirics I've seen, they do tend to have better outcomes. But I guess I would say that we should adopt a moral system that would be true, and that irrespective of the outcomes. And insofar as I believe that, like, well, I don't believe that God exists. Therefore, I
Okay,
don't
so
believe that any sort of.
you're a moral objectivist.
I think for the purposes of this debate, I think I would adopt a subjectivist position.
Okay, can you ground that for me?
They would be grounded just indexed to the people's, or like relativized to the people's position, whoever
So
is
then
making the claim. Like,
so
to
then
their
so if
purposes.
it's on people's position, then it's stance dependent. So it's moral subjectivism.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be subjective, correct.
Right. So then so then it's not true because it's subjective. It's just personal opinion.
Wait, no, you understand that subjectivism is a cognitivist position, right? In that ethics.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be true. It's just the truth maker would be relativized to the individual person.
Right. So if you have two truth makers that disagree, which one's true?
Both would be true, indexed to the person themselves. It'd just be relative.
That breaks the law of non-contradiction. They both cannot be true.
No, that's actually false.
No, if one
Let me give
person
you an
thinks
example.
if one person thinks it's okay to throw a baby off a cliff and the other person thinks it's not okay to throw a baby off the cliff, and you're stating that they're both true, that breaks the law of non-contradiction. Christian Killian came in $2, says, John, who makes a bigger cut, YouTube members or Patreon? YouTube members takes a bigger cut.
Well, no, so that's not true. And I could give it to you by way of example. So, for instance, you accept that there are facts about motion?
What do you mean?
Like facts about motion, like something relative to something else. There are a certain set of facts in terms of like that motion.
I feel like you just repeated the same thing.
Do you want me to define motion? Like movement throughout time and space.
What do you mean when you say there are facts about motion?
Yeah, so we were to say this thing at X speed, X, and got there in X time.
Sure.
So you do believe that there are facts surrounding that, right?
So if something moving travels at a certain speed, yeah?
Yeah. But you understand all of those facts are relative, right? They're not absolute facts, right? Because motion is relative by definition.
What do you mean? Right? There's a certain area of like how we measure certain things, but how we are measuring it is objectively true.
Correct. But it's also relative.
But
that
doesn't change whether or not it's objectively. So if I'm measuring its speed based off like the time it takes to go around the sun, based off the distance it goes from here to there. So if I'm measuring the movement around the sun from here to there, and somebody's measuring it a different way, that doesn't change the fact that if you measure it my way, it's true, and they measure it their way is true.
Yeah, but it would make it. But that's my point, though, right? Like it doesn't actually bear on whether it's objective at all. It's still
yes, it does.
relative,
it's objectively
right? So
true that if I measure it by the sun traveling or by the Earth traveling around the sun, it will take this long. But if I measure it based off of how long it takes water to drip or whatever, then it'll take this long. Those things are both objectively true, but they have different identity.
Yeah, but the point is that they could maintain.
So there's no contradiction.
Meaning that they could be. That's the point, though. Yeah, there's no contradiction between relative.
Yeah,
facts,
but morals don't have different standards of measurement.
Well, they do. That's the relative position, right? They're going to be relativized to and indexed to the person holding the claims. So I could hold a certain moral claim, and that claim is going to be true indexed to me. And then another person can hold the moral claim, and that claim is going to be true indexed to them.
Yeah, indexed to you, but it's not objectively true.
Yes.
There's not an actual standard.
No, well, it's subjective. Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying the relative aspect doesn't dwindle the truth maker in this case. The truth maker could still be.
I'm bored. Gabriel came in with $2, says physical laws have nothing to do with ethics. Yeah, and that topic really had nothing to do with what we were talking about. It's just Phil bro nonsense. All right, let's move on. A Bucket. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I am 29 and I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. All right. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a couple clarifying questions I would like to ask. First, which Christian morals are you referring to? Or if you're referring to them as a whole, and what your interpretation of that is, so I can better understand the argument that you're making.
Yeah, there seems to be a consistent standard amongst all Christians that vast majority hold to. There's some tertiary disagreements, sure, but most of them don't have to do with really like what morals are, or maybe a certain negotiation. But there is an objective standard that's been held by the church for like thousands of years. It can be summarized into two laws, right? Love God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. Michael Evans came in $2 says motion is objective, observation of it is not. Yes. It was a
So
stupid
these
argument.
are the morals in question. Not everything else we're not really discussing or considering as
so
part of the morality.
can you
in
give
this
me
argument.
can you give me a Christian moral that makes the world worse?
I would have to. I can't think off of the top of my head that's something that's like blatantly or objectively like bad or wrong. But
Yeah,
it was
so
more to
I can
understand
give several that I think would be better, right? So for example, a Christian moral would be the sacrament of marriage. I think if everybody held to the sacrament of marriage, the world would drastically improve. If everybody did not give interest, which is a Christian moral, the world would drastically improve. If everybody forgave their people who've sinned against them 70 times 7, the world would drastically improve. If people loved their neighbor, the world would drastically improve. If people were asked like, hey, I want your jacket, and then you also give them your shirt, the world would drastically improve. I think there's a whole bunch of things in the ethics systems of Christianity that would just drastically improve the world. I actually cannot think of one that are currently implemented that make the world worse.
Gotcha. So then what about certain things within the Bible that restrict certain, one of the ones that's really popular that people will cite as, maybe something bad is the translation that I can't remember if it occurred in 1934 or 44, but where they changed man shall not lie with a boy, till man shall not lie with a man.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If everybody held to the sacrament of marriage, how would the world be worse?
The world, okay, so the world being worse in what sense? From like a global, like from a objective outside of purview perspective, or from a individualistic perspective?
Yeah,
So
individualistic perspective is going to be completely irrelevant, because you're going to have people that on their individual perspective are going to feel better unaliving a whole bunch of children. So we want to look at the overall outcome here. What is going to improve the overall outcome for the world by holding would the world improve its overall outcome if we all held to the sacrament of marriage? So some things I think that would all drastically improve if we held to the sacrament of marriage. Child rearing would improve, right? Children wouldn't have fatherless or motherless homes. I think the prison system would be a lot lesser, because people would have parents that are currently active in their life. You'd also remove almost all STIs and STDs, right? So there'd be a whole bunch of things that would improve if you held to the sacrament of marriage.
Gotcha. And is it, so this improvement is to aim to like what sort of objective? Like, because when you talk about making something better, there's this idea that, okay, well, this betterment has an objective. There's an objective that we are trying to reach with this betterment. And so what would that look like for you in this case too?
Well, as a Christian, I think this betterment is called sanctification, and it'd be the Garden of Eden. It's what the Garden of Eden was supposed to be, and that was always the standard.
Gotcha. So the idea is a return to Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So in a case like that, then what? Sorry, give me a second to, if it's okay if I have a second to,
Yep.
Wrap my head around it, because when I saw the live, I just saw the premise and didn't know where you were coming from with that, because
That's fair.
in order to have that discussion, I have to understand your argument.
Yep, that's
in
fair.
that case.
Yep, take a second.
So one of the morals that you did bring up is the sort of worship or reverence of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then in I guess it wouldn't be, you're not arguing trying to enforce that sort of morality, but if people follow that morality, it would be better. Where does that leave room for people who then don't want to conform to that or
Well,
believe differently?
that's irrelevant to the topic. It's not about whether people want to or do not
Okay.
want to conform to it. It's whether or not if they did conform to it, would the world be better, right? And so if people conformed to this idea, whether God is real or not, right? You could take the Jordan Peterson perspective,
Okay.
where you say simply aligning yourself with the greatest possible good, which is the worship of God, right? Love God with all your heart. God is the greatest possible good. Simply aligning yourself with that good and holding that to the standard that you have to achieve. If everybody did this on a regular basis, I think the world would improve.
Okay. So I think, like, for me, taking sort of my ego out of it on a
Mhm.
metaphysical assumption basis, it's hard because I tend to lean towards a more alchemical or Taoist sort of view on good and evil, that they are sort of married or intertwined with each other, and that one can be sort of divorced from the other. Therefore, in a way, especially with using the Eden example, and once we were granted knowledge, that expulsion from Eden is that knowledge of evil, the capacity to do so. And so I think there's value in the choices that people make, whether it is to be good or evil, and that greater good or that greater
Right.
evil is
Yeah, I'm
only
not arguing that people
because
should
of that
have
knowledge
I'm
to
not
do
arguing
so.
that people should have their choice removed. I'm arguing that if everybody held to the correct choice, the world would improve, which is the Christian
Right.
moral system.
But my argument is that conflict, strife, and suffering, again, outside, when again, separating myself from the ego of my own opinions or my own, perspective and bias, evil or calamity or strife or suffering, these are all catalysts for growth, innovation, to
Yeah, you wouldn't
move
lose
forward
that.
and change and improve.
You wouldn't lose that. You would still have
Um,
suffering. You'd still have tragedy. People would still get cancer. People would get sick. People would end up basically illnesses and
well, hold on.
sicknesses
So
would.
I would argue that if we look at some of the things that cause a lot of the cancers, some of the things, if we're acting in a way where, with the Christian morals, I don't think we would necessarily see some of those things, because if
A lot of
everybody
it would go away.
is behaving under Christian morality, so then we look at, like, well, the processes of in society today, like the ethics of capitalism, we're not going to be
Wait.
putting,
So hold on. Just to be clear, is your argument here that if we all adhere to a Christian moral system, there wouldn't be any pain and suffering, and pain and suffering gives us meaning, so therefore it's not better?
I am not making that argument. I'm not saying that if we follow Christian morals, that pain and suffering would be eliminated, but I'm saying things that, like, if we, under the principle of, if we, love thy neighbor, then, if everybody is following that principle, then you're going to see, hey, companies aren't going to put, like, red 40 in, food that we consume, or
Yeah.
things that can
What?
cause,
Just give me a quick summary of what you're arguing for then, if that's not what you're arguing for, because it sounds like that's what you're arguing for.
that I'm arguing that
That we wouldn't
suffering
have any
is
suffering, so therefore we wouldn't have any meaning.
okay. So I would argue that, yes, without, suffering, without, those sorts of things. Well, no, because
I'm
for
laughing
meaning,
because my entire career as a Christian apologist, quote unquote, has been people saying, "Why did God make a world where we suffer? It doesn't seem like He actually exists." And then I'm sitting here and, like, I'm finally like, this is a new topic for me. I don't normally do this topic. I make this topic saying that we have a Christian moral system and the world will be better. And your argument is that there wouldn't be any suffering, so we'd lose our meaning. And I feel like I can't win. Like, if I argue one thing, it's
no,
like,
and I
oh, the
get
world's
that,
too
because,
evil. Now it's too good. There's
well,
just no
so
making people
the
happy.
argument that you're talking about, that you initially have, where, oh, well, there's a world of suffering, why would God create something, usually comes from the argument of the problems that arise when you have the typical Abrahamic conception of God, which is an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good creator. So the question rises is, okay, well, if God exists, why would He then create and is all powerful and all good and all knowing, why would he create?
I gotta stop you, man. Smokey came in with $5, says, and he's saying this, not me. Caller is dumb. Moral good is ontological primary. You can define good by itself. You can't define evil without reference to good. Proof God is real. Yes. So anyways, your issue is that if everybody adhered to Christian morals, the world would be so good that we lose our meaning because we wouldn't have any evil. But I guarantee you somebody out here is going to say, well, if God's real, he would just take away all the evil. It might not be you. And it's just like,
well, I don't think in that case, from my understanding from like Christianity perspective, that the value lies, at least in that framework, that God is giving humanity free will, because the choice is what is valuable. When presented with the choice of good and
how
evil,
is she not dressing modestly? She's got a t-shirt and shorts on. Are you on drugs?
It's my legs.
All right, bro. So do you actually have an argument against why it's not better? Because it sounds like you're saying it's better, but I just don't like that.
I don't have an argument against it, and I'm not saying it because, like, from me, like, the way when I read the Bible and the lens of which I see it is that if you follow the teachings of Jesus, which is to love everyone regardless of status, and
okay, so you don't have an argument, bro, but you're just kind of going on a tangent. So real quick, are you an atheist?
No.
Okay, so you believe in God?
I don't subscribe to the Abrahamic conception of God.
Okay, but you believe in God.
That sense. Like I said, I'm more of a Taoist.
Okay, all right, man. Appreciate your time then. I'm going to jump on to the next person, but God bless.
No worries. Have a good day.
You too. Peace. All right, guys. If everyone follow Christian morals, the world will be a better place. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Join here at tinyurl.com/Big John Steele. Password 12345. But yeah, let's get into it. I don't know how to say that name, but I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Koi Otsu. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. Just give me 2 seconds and I will bring you in. All right. If everyone follow Christian morals, the world will be a better place. Prove me wrong. Go ahead.
I just had a quick comment. So, if everyone followed Christian morals, that would also mean that homosexuality and everything like that would also not be a part of the world, correct?
Bro, you got too much background noise in your phones too. It's hard away from you. I can't hear you. Mitchell said, for $5, time to work. Stay safe, fall. Have a good day at work, Mitchell. Enjoy the pool tables.
So, if we adhere to Christian morals, then homosexuality and all other forms of that would also not be a part of it.
I can't talk specifically about that because I will get banned. What I could say is this: if everyone held to the sacrament of marriage, how would the world be worse?
Well, the sacrament of marriage includes between a man and a woman, and that's not necessarily the only bond of union that someone can hold.
That's not the question I asked. If everyone held to the sacrament of marriage, how would the world be worse?
Well, I think that inherently by removing the parts of the argument that are valid, but parts that you don't want to discuss makes that an easy question to say, well,
it's not that I don't want to discuss about it. I would actually love to discuss about it. But every time I discuss about it, I get banned. It's just the reality of the channel, man. I get banned all the time. And if I talk about that topic, I will get banned.
So then there it is.
Well, you're still not addressing the question though. How would the world be worse if everybody held to the sacrament of marriage? Well, despite their own desires.
I just think by simply holding to that fact and by getting rid of the rest of the desires, then there would be several people that couldn't uphold that because their own internal guidelines don't follow in that way.
If
So if
everybody
you were
held
to
to if
truly
everybody
do
held the
this, then
Christian moral hold on if everybody held the Christian morals, right, then their guidelines would follow that way because they would die to self and they wouldn't just adhere to their own desires. That's a Christian moral system, right? Is not to adhere to your own desires, but to adhere to Christ's desires. That's part of the system. So if everybody held to the Christian moral system and everybody honored the sacrament of marriage, whether they engaged in it or not, but they honored the sacrament of marriage, how would the world not improve?
well, you'd end up with a lot of people that were either together and created a happy family, or
That were together and what?
weren't, but were together, created a happy family in
Mm-hmm.
the way that it was intended,
Mm-hmm.
or that weren't and would have to find something else to do. So what would those other people that weren't able to adhere to that because they don't
Yeah.
have the desire to procreate,
Yeah, there are a lot.
where would they go?
There are lots of places that you can go, right? Lots of areas that you can serve. For example, you could serve in the church. You can serve. You can serve in charity. There's lots of callings that don't include, being called to marriage.
Yes, but would they have the opportunity to be happy the way the people in marriage do? And I think that
Not
in
not in the same
itself,
way, no, but they can find happiness in other ways.
yeah, but now you're limiting happiness, which in my
You're not
mind
limiting. You're
is,
not limiting happiness, right? I can't be happy to the same standard that somebody who is 6'6" and incredibly handsome is.
so then nothing changes. It's not getting better. It's just limiting it to a
Yeah,
different set of rules.
of course it would get better, because if everybody held to the sacrament of marriage, right, you would have families where children have parents. So if children have both their parents, then they're less likely to end up in prison. You would also have the fact that STDs, STIs would definitely drop. And it shows that in the system, if the child rearing, having both those parents has a drastic improvement on their lifestyles. You'd also have, again, because they're holding to the Christian standard, you'd have less abuse. You would have
So then let me
you'd have no
qualify this.
abuse. You'd have no divorce. And so everything, and then because of this, you
Well,
would
the no
also,
abuse is a little
because of
eh.
this, you would also have more people that are going into the infrastructure system, that are building it up, making it stronger. You'd have more people to take care of the elderly, which actually right now, because of people who not wanting to have children, not want to be involved in child rearing, we have less and less people that are going to be put into infrastructures that are built for a certain amount of people right now, and we're probably going to end up in a detriment in the next couple hundred years.
So then I'm going to qualify it by it would get better for the people that hold heteronormative standards, but everybody else is not necessarily guaranteed that it would get better. So
So
how much of that
how is the
percent?
world not going to get better if we have more children, better child rearing, less people in prison, and less STDs and less STIs? Almost actually, they would cease to exist at a certain point.
Well, again, it's to those people that are a part of that,
You're not answering the
it would get
question.
better for them. And for the people that are not conforming to that because they can't and they're trying to find a way to fit in by holding these same values.
You're not answering the question. You're just saying there are certain people that would have desires that don't get to live it out. Yeah, lots of people have desires they don't get to live out all the time. That's a part of life. I have desires I don't get to live out all the time. There's sometimes I want to punch people in the face. I'm not allowed to do it.
I'm just bringing up the argument that it wouldn't necessarily get better for all
Well,
people.
you're
It's
not
not
giving
a
me a standard on how to get worse. You're just saying there are some people who wouldn't get to live out their desires. That's a normal part of life. People don't get to live out their desires all the time.
it's not just their desires though.
Then what?
It's
What would get
boiling it
worse?
down to their desires is a little minimalistic because this isn't just something that, was just implanted on this. It's across all species, all human. This is
I'm
a
not
thing
saying it
that
isn't. It's still a desire. So how would it get worse?
because you're taking away options from people to be able to pursue things that they want to pursue.
People all the time don't get to live out their desires for all sorts of desires. That's a normal part of life. So how would the world get worse?
I'm not saying that it would get worse. I'm saying that it wouldn't be better uniform. It would
How would
just
it not
change
be
the
better
system.
if we removed, listen, how's it not an improvement if we're removing STDs, STIs, we have more children and more people being put into the infrastructure and less people being put in prison?
Sorry, I was just picking up my son. So no, I in general agree and understand that the moral center of Christianity is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
It might even be the best one that we have right now to follow.
Based.
Because it's one been around for almost the longest amount of time for the faiths that are available now, except for if you get into Eastern religions, that's a whole other topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you get in the car, Jax? Oh, two. One, two. Sorry. So what I just trying to wrap my head around or have you said is that I think, well, if we got to this standard of moral Christianity, while it defines the most good that we can achieve at the moment, we're still forgetting pieces of our society that could still achieve happiness in a better way.
But you're doing a longer way of saying people have desires and want to live out those desires. That's
But
all you're saying, right? And
it's
again,
not
we all
necessarily
have
just about their
desires.
desires, though.
But
Jack,
that is what it is. Yeah. What other reason is to be outside the sacrament of marriage except for one's own desire?
so I think that's where it's getting difficult is that it's not necessarily just these desires to do these things. It's the what happens when you take away from somebody, like if someone desired to eat food and you took that away from them
They would
and you
starve.
told them, well, you just want to eat better food, but
Yeah,
they have an allergy, and
this is
if they eat this other
disanalogous.
food, they would die.
This is disanalogous
It's a
because
similar
they would
concept.
starve and lead to a greater harm. So my question for you is, what is the greater harm that would happen that would lead to if people didn't hold to the sacrament of marriage?
I'm saying it's general unhappiness. Is that
But there's
the
all
people that were
sorts of
able to participate in it would
there's
be
all
able to
sorts of
achieve it.
desires that we don't get to participate in all the time. So your only argument is that people have desires. That's it. That's what you got, my friend. That's it. Because it's not going to generally improve the world by them enacting out their desires, except for their individual happiness. But I can point to a whole bunch of things where people just act out the desires and leads to a detriment. And in the reality is, if let's say if we took everybody and they acted out these specific desires that we're not really talking about, quote unquote, the world would actually end up worse because we would have less child rearing, we would have less people going in the infrastructure, and eventually would lead to our annihilation.
I'm not saying that the extremes of either way.
Well,
I guess
the extreme of
the
our way.
extremes of either way result in a similar outcome. Is what
No,
I'm
it
trying
doesn't.
to
No, it
get at.
doesn't. If the extreme of our way, of everybody holding to the sacrament of marriage leads to more people taking care of the infrastructure that we set up, including our elderly, which will one day be me and you. We need people to take care of us. That's part of the world that we live in. Will lead to the fact that STDs and STIs will vanish eventually, given time, because they'll stop spreading. So there are three systems right there where the world will drastically improve if we all hold to the sacrament of marriage. You also have the fact that almost like 90%, I could be over exaggerating a little bit, but it's a very high percentage of people who are in the prison systems are fatherless, right? So having fathers that hold to the sacrament of marriage, which is staying in your home, right, is going to lead to a lot less people committing crimes and being in prisons as well. So holding to the extreme of ours leads to drastic improvements in the world. What holding to the extreme of yours leads to the world vanishing.
I'm disagree because I think that
But you have to give me a reason why.
just because some of the desires may not be good doesn't mean that there's also desires that are held to extreme that would not fit under this moral heading because of general things like, having doing anything outside of the marriage, like there's scriptures that talk about, like, if someone doesn't believe is fully in God, we need to accept them and have our faith, but they're not going to be a part of us.
No, there isn't.
When we all die, we will be given a chance.
This is
to
completely
join
irrelevant
paradise,
to
and
what
if
we're talking about.
But it's
So again, can you give me a way that the world would be worse if everyone held to the sacrament of marriage, outside of just people have feelings and they want to enact those feelings?
I think that you're tying marriage to
Come
a
on, bro.
healthy household, which is fair,
Mm-hmm.
but also if you were married to a person that you then were unable to be cooperative with,
Nobody
or
says that
for
you should do
whatever
that.
reason.
No, that's not the Christian moral system. The Christian moral system isn't that you like there's in almost every church they have marriage counseling, because one of the parts that they want to make sure that you have is an attraction to your spouse. Right? You're not called to get married if you're not attracted to other people. Right? There are different vocations that you can go into.
Right, but so we're adhering to the morals, but we're still not perfect ourselves, so we cannot perfectly execute them. So what happens to people that get married and realize that it was to the wrong person, not for malicious or malintent reasons, just
Then they make it work.
and that can get toxic.
Not if
And
you
that
not
can
if,
lead
not
to
if
a
you're
lot of
holding not if you're adhering to the Christian moral system, it won't, because you will make it work and you will die to self for the other person and you will compromise and you will sacrifice.
yeah, but there's a point in which there's too much to compromise or sacrifice, and
Not if you're both holding to the Christian moral system. That's the point here. If everyone followed the Christian moral system, the world would improve. Not certain morals, all of them. You still there? Hello? Okay, man, I've lost you, so I'm going to jump on, but I do appreciate your time. You were very kind. So God bless. Uh-huh. All right, guys. So if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong when to taco. And what do I always say when we're talking about the subject? Now, granted, we only debated this twice. This is the second day, but I've talked about this before. The only issue that people have with Christians is that we talk about where you can put your ding dong. If we never talked about where you could put your ding dong, nobody would ever say anything. But they want to put their ding dongs in places that we say they can't put their ding dongs. So they're like, hey, screw you. That's all they got, man. That's all they got. That's all they got. Jesus came in with $10, says 1 John 5:7, for there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. And these three are one with Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Ghost is God, but one. Yes, the Bohemian comma, something to keep in mind when reading that verse is that it's not in a lot of earlier manuscripts, but I do hold to it and I do believe in it. And granted, I actually expect to give a taco on this topic because I'm not super in depth with it. So I am curious what people come up with. Wopachop. What's up, bro? What's up, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm
You're
good.
here. You're ready to convert.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that. I'm quite literally looking for what version of the Bible to order.
Ooh.
I thought about our last conversation. It's not going to be as long this time. I'm so sorry about that. And there are so many different versions. I recognize the King James version. That was the one I had as a child,
Mhm.
and it wasn't easy reading. And it even says here, the language can be difficult. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that one. So yeah, that's my first question.
Just one sec. Tribute Center came
Yeah.
in $1.99. My little nephew was baptized today. God bless. Amen. That's amazing, Tribute Center. So yeah, do you want me to recommend a Bible? Is that why you're here?
For a layman, yeah, think of
Yeah.
me as like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings, you know, the least spiritual of the races, something I can understand. Yeah.
So the best Bible is going to be the one that you're going to read. That's a common
Yeah.
saying. I recommend word for word Bibles, but the problem is I do this like kind of like as a career, and there's an issue that you can run in a word for word is where you lose context because
Right.
they don't speak like how we spoke back then. So I I can recommend like an easier read is going to be an NLT. There are some problems with the NLT translation. So, for example, they translate some verses to grape when it's not saying grape; it's saying
Oh,
seas.
Isn't
new
that the
living,
NIV?
No, no,
the new,
NLT.
yeah, the new
NIV does
living,
that as well, but the
the new,
NLT I think is better.
the new living translation. Is that the one we're talking about here? Yeah.
Yep, yep. That's an option for like just like if you want to get into a balance between meaning and meaning for word, but there's some problem. If you want a
Okay.
direct word for word, I can say an NASB, an LSB, or if you want a scholarly standard, the scholarly standard is the NRSV.
Okay, the New Revised Standard Version,
Yeah.
another literal translation, often favoured for its scholarly approach. Okay, these seem a bit heavy. I think
I think
the
ESV is pretty easy to read.
Oh, ESV. Yeah. Well,
ESV,
actually, you know what?
the,
I'm going to say the ESV. I forgot about that one. Do that one.
adhering
That's
for a
my
word-for-word
favorite.
approach, which can be helpful for in-depth study. Yeah, okay. ESV. All right. Yeah, I'm going to order one. So that was my first question, just to I figured no one's going to convince me of this. I kind of need to figure this out for myself. Like most
Mm-hmm.
people, they need to come
Yep.
to this understanding themselves. And without a book, it's pretty much a non-starter. So that's question one. Thank you. I will order that. The other question was recently I watched a Alex O'Connor debate over Islam,
Okay.
and
Hold on. I got to address this because the chat just went crazy because all apostolic. And so I think I will point out ESV is a heavily Protestant Bible. So it's going to
okay,
miss the Apocrypha if you want the Apocrypha. I don't think the Apocrypha is necessary, right? To have or not to have. Everybody's going to get mad at me at that. I think it is good, edifying, and it very well may be God inspired, but I don't think it's necessary. If you want the Apocrypha, you're probably not going to find that in the ESV. So just keep that in mind. And you're also going to get a lot of Calvinistic viewpoints if you get a study version of the ESV because they're very Calvinistic in the way they view the world. So just some things to take into consideration. I still say the ESV for you just want to read the Gospels, you just want to learn about Jesus. Solid
yeah,
choice.
beginner. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to order that one. If I need to order more, they're not expensive. They're usually made quite available, aren't they? So perfect. Yeah. Okay. So second question. After watching some Alex O'Connor,
Mm-hmm.
initially it was just some interesting debates about Islam, and then there was one about Christianity, and I was like, oh, I've not seen him really try to take Christianity apart, so I watched it.
You must not have watched lots of Alex O'Connor. That's like his job.
Well,
That's what he
this
primarily
is it.
does.
I haven't. I just started. I just sort of stumbled onto him, and yeah, there's one part that was a bit troubling, and I'm hoping you can answer and explain why it's in the Bible, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have had this come up many a time. Why is there an explanation of how to treat slaves? And it seems like it's permissible in the Bible to have slaves.
It is.
In the Old Testament, at the very least. I don't know about the New Testament. I'm hoping there is some explanation in the New Testament of why you shouldn't have slaves,
So
essentially. But yeah,
So I'm going to give you a good source. What you're going to do is you're going to look up the video Kip Davis. So it's going to be bug crawling on me.
Kit
Freaking
Davis.
Kip. So it's going to be KIPPDAVIS.
Ew.
So it's Kip Davis,
Yeah.
Josh Bowman versus Gavin Ortlund and Trent Horn on that specific topic. And the reason I think it's good is because they all agree on the data. They just disagree on the outcome. So you're not going to get certain apologetic viewpoints. Even Josh Bowman in that video says, if I was a Christian, I think the standard that you guys are taking is the more fair standard. And all those guys have degrees in this, in some sort of biblical study. Trent Horn is the guy with like the least amount of degrees, but
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat? Kit Davis, Josh Bowman versus Travis who?
Gavin Ortland
Gavin
and
Ortland. Okay.
and Trent Horn.
Gavin. How are we spelling his? Oh, Ortland. Right, got you.
Yeah.
Right, got you. Yeah, okay. I will watch that when I have a moment. Okay, so you're saying just go away and watch those videos, or
That's going to give you the more comprehensive details on it, because I think they all tackle it really well. And then you can also get into their back and forth that they had if you want. So you probably got about like 4 or 5 hours of content just talking about slavery between those 4 guys. If you really wanted to get all the details on both sides. And I think it's important to get both sides. But the conclusion ultimately comes down to this, is that yes, God allowed for slavery, but not because it's moral good, but the old law was never given to be a moral system. It was simply allowed because of those people and because of who they were. And God was meeting them at their place with the goal to sanctify and move them to a point where we would be people that would no longer desire slavery in the first place. So that's the kind of the conclusion they go to. But I recommend watching that, because like what I'm going to tell you here in 5-10 minutes is not going to go as detailed as I think you're going to need.
okay. So you'd say we've already moved past that by and large in the West. That
No.
we're already at a sanctified state.
Heck no. Heck no. We
Well,
condone
just regarding
slavery now. No,
Yeah?
we condone slavery now. We just call it different things. Right. So
Oh,
the amendment, I keep forgetting which amendment. There's an amendment in the United States that literally says you can have slaves if they've committed crimes. Those are prisoners. We have
of
entire
course.
prison
Yeah,
systems
free
filled with
labor.
slaves. Yeah.
Yeah, free labor.
And
And I
nobody seems to
suppose,
have a problem with that.
and I suppose when you look at overseas trading with countries that allow,
Hmm.
child labor and stuff,
Hmm.
we buy from those
Like
countries. We wear their clothes.
Yep.
the conception
Yeah,
of
Yeah, we have sales consumer technology. Like your cell phone has parts in it that are probably made with slave labor. And then outside of that, how many people here watch corn on a regular basis and support it and pay for it? It's one of the biggest industries in the world, and it's the primary source for sex trafficking.
yeah, yeah. Not so much in the UK now. Not with the new law.
Oh yeah, God bless that law. That's amazing.
So, but okay. So we are not at a stage of being sanctified and not adhering to allowing slavery. We still are in that
No.
sin, as it were.
Yep, I think people still allow it. They've just given it different words and they say it's different. It's not slavery. I've had people literally argue with me saying that prison systems are not slavery. I'm like, well, how is it not? If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, acts like a duck, then it must be a duck. But
Okay. Well, I will watch those videos. I appreciate you don't have the time to go over it in the granular detail that these gentlemen will do. But yeah, it was just one thing that's really troubled me recently. I've only really just, like I told you, I'm a layman. I
Mhm.
don't have the knowledge that you've got on the topic, and yeah, that was it really. But yeah, I don't expect any Christians today like a call with slavery. I appreciate that it's an old sentiment, sort of reflective of the times, and the book was written back then, so of course it would be in there. But yeah, okay, I'll watch those videos, man. I'll keep this one short. I wasn't coming for the taco today. I was coming for recommendations, so thank you for that, brother.
Improvements.
All right then. Well, thank you, Abby. Thank you, John. I'll leave you guys in peace, and I'll listen to the show, man. I'm interested to see what other people have to say.
All right, Waka Flocka.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Waka flocka. All right, see you
God
later,
bless.
man. Bye.
While I got everyone here, let's just do a quick plug. I just put out a video that I want you guys to go check out. It's right here on my channel. Just put it out now. I tested 5 Islamic miracles. Here's what happened. I went out and tested it myself. So go check it out. We put it out today. You should just stop watching this live. Go watch that and then come back. That's what I highly recommend you do. With that being said, if you want to join the conversation, it's tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteel10, password 12345. That being said, let's bring up the next guest. Casey, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, you got Yeah, I can hear you. You just had a lot of background noise for a second. Okay, just give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in.
No
All right,
worries.
man. If everyone followed the Christian moral system, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
All right, so I want to start by saying, or asking, I guess. I saw in your description you said you were an atheist, but now you're a Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? What changed your mind?
I had a Christophany, but I don't really want to get into that.
Okay, no worries. So in that case, I want to start by saying, if everyone in the world followed any one system, you're saying Christian morals, but anyone all following the same thing, of course, would be good. I don't have any argument against that, but
I don't necessarily agree with that. So I think if everybody took the secularist human manifesto and held to that, the world would lead into a detriment. So I think that's a good example.
Okay, I mean, for the most part, people on the same page is a good thing, though. For those people,
No,
I mean,
no, because Schmotzies were all on the same page. I don't think that was better.
Exactly, and if they all had their way, then it would be unity.
Yeah, so my argument isn't unity makes the world better. My argument is just if everybody held to the Christian. No, it's not. It's not unity because I think that's okay. Why don't you tell me what I believe, seeing as how you know me better than I do?
Okay, man. I'm not trying to come off rude, but that's
well, you're telling me that's what I'm arguing. That's not what I'm arguing. So are you willing to listen to what I'm actually arguing? Or are you just going to cut me off every time I open my mouth and say that is what I'm arguing? Right. So my argument isn't unity. My argument is unity under a specific worldview.
Unity under a specific worldview is exactly, you just said unity, brother.
All right. Appreciate your time. You're not arguing in faith. God bless.
I would like to speak with you.
It's not just unity.
It's not just unity. So if everybody was unified in being cannibals, I think the world would be worse.
I agree, but that's also
okay. So then it's not unity, right?
No, it's completely subjective, though. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Appreciate your time. God bless.
Brother, I'm talking about morals.
That was dumb.
That was so dumb. All right. Let's jump on to the next person. Juju. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Juju? This sounds really bad. But their name is Juju. Ju. All right. Appreciate your time. God bless. Turtle. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I'm good, man. How old are you? All right, let me bring you in. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Go ahead.
More of a general discussion because I've sat on here. I'm agnostic myself.
Okay.
Don't necessarily follow any of the religions. I just want to know how would you uphold a situation where everyone would follow Christian morals? Because the inevitability is human nature. I don't want to say evil by birth, but humans have temptations. Humans have things that cause them to act outside of even beliefs that they personally believe.
Yeah, I think
there are plenty of.
Sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I wasn't trying to cut you off either. There's plenty of situations where people do believe the certain things. They believe in the one man, one woman, but something comes along and sways them another way. Is this taken into account in the situation?
Right. So it's a bit of a red herring. I don't think that's your intent. But what you're saying is, what would you do if people didn't adhere to Christian morals? That's the topic at hand, is if everyone did follow Christian morals.
Right. So what you're saying is essentially they're just going to because they're going to, because the hope is that it makes the world a better place.
No, I'm just saying
that's also kind of a fallacy within itself.
What's
the idea is that if you're going to,
what's the fallacy?
I'm not going to name the actual because I don't remember the name of it. There's like 15 of them, but the idea
there's way
that
more than 15 fallacies. But what specific fallacy is this?
Are you asking me to name the actual one, or would you like me to explain why it's a fallacy?
You just give me the description of it. But just before you go, Perenum came in with $20. Humanism is dependent on the moral framework already established in the culture. I've mentioned this before, but humanists in the 16th century argued for conquest and enslavement of natives because of human sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a true statement. But the idea behind it is we want to go into a society where everybody believes in the idea of one man, one woman, or one man, one woman, whatever, what have you.
Why is it always about where people stick their ding dongs? That's all anybody ever wants to talk about.
Women don't have dicks, dude. Women get just as much say as men do.
Right, but you understand the rhetorical goal of what I said there, right?
I do. It's the idea of two people living it out in a faithful marriage going along.
It's always just about sex. That's all anybody ever wanted to talk about.
No,
That's the only issue.
no. This
Okay,
conversation's not about sex. We're just making sure.
What fallacy?
We're making sure that we're all on the same page here. That it's not just men and women.
What fallacy did I use?
The idea that if humans are going to simply believe in something for the greater good, they're going to have to sacrifice their individuality. They're going to have to sacrifice.
How's that a fallacy?
How do you put it this way? It's the idea that just because something is great means that everybody's going to go along with it. You're using
That's not what I'm arguing. So how am I using a fallacy?
Hold on. What exactly are you arguing? What is your actual argument? That if everybody just followed what's written in the Christian book, everybody would be better?
No, that's also a straw man. I said if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be better. That is my argument.
That's exactly what I just said. If everyone followed what is written in the little Christian Bible,
Christian morals are not just from the Bible.
So where do you get your Christian morals from, if not from the supposed Word of God?
From 2,000 years of church tradition.
That can be easily misconstrued as the speaking of a man rather than the speaking of a God.
Yeah.
So you're following the possible word of a man instead of...
Again, why is this relevant? It doesn't matter if it came from a man or a
God.
God.
Is relevant.
It doesn't matter if it came from a man or a God. My argument is
that I can walk outside
would you
now.
Please let me finish? Yeah,
go ahead.
Appreciate it. So it doesn't matter if it comes from a man or a God. My argument is that if everybody adhered to it, the world would be a better place. Do you have an argument against that?
So you're just disconcerting every other possibility and only going for one tiny sect. Then no.
So your argument.
I don't have an argument of that.
Okay, so you don't have an argument against the Christian moral system.
My argument against the Christian moral system is that it literally limits individuality. You're talking about, and then when I try to bring up another group of people, you're just like, oh, well, everybody wants to talk about where the ding dongs go.
Yeah,
no,
you're absolutely right. It does limit individuality. For example, it limits people being serial killers, and it limits people being abusers, and it limits people taking advantage of other people, and it limits people being hateful. Yeah, we do limit individuality, 100%.
You also limit the ideals of the fact that people change. They're going to get into a sacrament with a person if someone changes, if something becomes entirely different. There are Christian males who are full-blown alcoholics. They change after they get married. Hold
on. So here's the problem: is you're introducing something that's not part of the Christian moral standard and saying they don't hold to the Christian moral standard, so that's a problem. If they're holding to the Christian, hold on. If they hold to the Christian moral standard, they wouldn't be full-blown alcoholics, would they?
So your argument is that no one wavers at all. Everybody 100% follows this, and no problem arises ever.
I don't get why it's so hard for you guys to make your brain cells work together and understand the argument. The argument here is very simple. It's a simple argument. It's not an ought claim. It's an is claim. Or sorry, it's not an is claim. It's an ought claim. Right? It's not what is happening or what people do. It is if people did do this thing, the world would be better.
And if people followed, let's throw another one in there. And if people followed libertarian principles into the exact same thing, the world would be better. The ideal here is that
can you give me a quick summary of the libertarian principles?
Libertarian principles is don't harm your neighbor. It is a sense of private property. It is a sense of community. Everybody works together. Everybody gets along. If you see somebody in need of help, you help. It's a give and take kind of system.
So how is that not a Christian moral standard then? Because it sounds like you just gave the Christian moral standard and just put a different title on it.
No. Throughout history, Christianity has shown that it does not accept people that waver from their beliefs. The libertarian system does not care what you believe, doesn't care who you are.
It does care what you believe.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Because if you're a person that believes that you're allowed to harm your neighbor, then you're telling them they can't believe that.
So if your neighbor comes at you with anything life-threatening, you're not allowed to harm them?
That's not what I said. Please, I don't.
Everybody believes
just real quick. Just real quick. Is everybody allergic to topics? Because it's just like almost like I bring up a point and everybody goes to a completely different point. So you said listen, Linda, listen. You said, right, in the libertarian system, it says that be kind to your neighbor and do not harm them, right?
Nope. No one said don't harm. It said help.
Okay, and help them. Great,
The
great,
use
cool.
of
And help
harm
them. Fine,
is to
fine,
defend
help
another
them.
person.
Fine, help them. It's a libertarian system says be kind to your neighbor and help them. If somebody comes around and they're under the libertarian system and they don't want to help their neighbor, are you telling them what to believe?
No. You don't
how the
have
fuck
to help
aren't you?
somebody.
Pardon my language.
No, that's fine. We're adults. We use
Hold on.
language.
If the libertarian system is part of helping your neighbor and they don't want to help your neighbor, and then you say that's fine, then part of the libertarian system is not help your neighbor, is it?
Not necessarily, because you don't have to believe what you don't want to believe. If I live across the street from somebody and we live in a system dictated by what the libertarian ideals are, we all help each other. We cut each other's grass. We do
But
whatever.
what
We help
if
keep the
somebody
neighborhood a
doesn't
nicer
want to
place.
help each other?
Then they don't have to. That's the
Then
beauty
how
of
are
it.
they following the libertarian system, you moron?
Because it is individualism, my friend. You do not have to follow the specific set of guidelines
Then what
because you're
is the
not inhibiting.
libertarian standard?
Because you're not inhibiting someone else's lifestyle.
Then
If
what,
you want to
what
stay a
is the
hermit by themselves,
libertarian standard then?
I literally just explained it.
You
It
said
is
it's
the
to help
individualism.
people. And then you
It is
said
the
if somebody doesn't
individualism
want to...
between each individual person. You
Okay.
don't just get to say,
Okay, so
well,
hold on.
you're
Is
forced to help
okay,
people
okay,
now.
Linda, is the libertarian system then everybody gets to live out their own individual lives?
Within reason, yes.
What it define within reason?
Have you seen anything related to the Libertarian Party?
I'm asking you to clarify.
I'm asking the way I know if I have to go into more of a deep dive or if I can cover bases.
Just give me the answer. To
I
what
did.
standard?
So here, hold please. You and your neighbors, everybody in your little thing. You may believe in one thing, you may believe in another. Like let's say for just purposes of this conversation, that my neighbor is Muslim and the guy across the street believes in the old age Greek gods. They believe in something entirely different than I believe.
Okay, so fine. Let's say my neighbors believe that you shouldn't have slaves and great people. My other neighbors believe that you should have slaves and great people. Which one's right?
Are you talking morally or objectively?
Just objectively. Which standard do we go by?
As a community, neither.
What?
So hold on. Can my neighbors on this side have slaves and great people?
Old age Christians did.
That's not the question I'm asking. Quit dodging. Quit running.
No.
Answer
There's
the
no
question.
dodging questions here.
You're
because we're going
you're
right back.
100%
You,
dodging.
if
Does the
everyone
person
followed
on
Christian
that
morals,
side listen? You can put your runners on and run away another day, but I'm not going to let you run. If the person on this side wants to have slaves and great people, are they allowed to?
No.
Okay, well then you're telling them what to believe, aren't you?
I am not telling them what to believe.
my
A belief system doesn't involve another human's physical life.
Yes, it does.
They can believe what they want, but acting upon it is entirely different. So if I tell you,
okay, so what if I believe? Hold on. What if I believe that I should be allowed to act upon my beliefs?
Go ahead.
Hold on. What if I believe I should act upon my beliefs?
You are allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. That does
What
not
if
mean
my
you can
belief
act upon
system
them.
is okay? So then you're telling me that my belief system to act upon my beliefs is wrong. So now you're telling me what to believe.
Is your belief system involving harming another human?
Doesn't matter. You said
It does.
people are allowed to believe whatever
It
they want.
does.
Listen,
You
Linda,
can-
listen. I know you got like 2 brain cells fighting for third place right now, but we can do this. All right. So pay attention. If you are telling me I have a belief system, but I'm not allowed to act it out, but in my belief system, I believe I'm supposed to act it out, and then you tell me I'm not supposed to act it out, then are you telling me what to believe?
Can you give your actual guest 2 seconds to explain
Can
before
you
you just
answer the
jump in and
question?
tell me to hold on?
Answer the question.
I fucking am. I'm trying. But you keep saying hold on.
Answer the question.
A belief system is not a system of actions. A belief system is a system of beliefs. The ideal is that you are allowed to believe what you would like,
You're
but
not answering the
action
question.
and harming another. I literally am doing it right now.
No, you're not. I'll ask the question again.
As
Pay
I just
attention.
specifically said, a belief system is your belief. You are allowed to believe whatever you want to believe.
If I believe I'm supposed to act out my beliefs and you tell me I can't act out my beliefs, are you telling me what to believe?
Can you not interrupt me for 2 minutes?
Answer the question.
I am.
You're not. You're running.
No, it is a 2-part answer that I am trying to get across.
It's a
to you.
simple
It
answer.
is.
Are you or are you not
Can
telling me
not
what to believe?
comprehend?
Yes or
Can
no,
you not
Linda?
comprehend how there is
Yes
a
or
belief
no,
system
Linda?
and a sense of acting it upon?
Linda, yes or no?
How
Are
do
you telling me what to believe?
Not affect what we do.
For fuck's sake, dude.
Come on, answer the question. Yes or no? Are you telling me what to believe?
There's beliefs and there's actions.
So if I believe I'm supposed to act out on my beliefs, and then you tell me not to act out on my beliefs, are you telling me what to believe?
There's a line.
Answer the question.
I am not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you what you can and can't act upon.
So if you're telling me I can't act on my beliefs and I believe I should be acting on my belief, how are you not telling me what to believe?
Because you can still believe it. You can attempt to do whatever it is you want to believe, but there will be actions for said beliefs. It's you want to believe that you can go own slaves. That's fine. You can believe what you want to. You're just the crazy guy across the street. That's perfectly okay. Especially in this land, that is perfectly fine. But the act, there is a difference between a belief and a physical act. That is the line that is drawn.
Hey, guest, if we all believe whatever we wanted to, but acted out Christian morals, would we be better off? I actually want to answer. I want you to answer that one.
Honestly, I can agree with that statement.
Well, then I win.
Not necessarily. Because if
you
we
just
all believe
conceded
in
that we would be better off if we all acted out Christian morals.
If we
That's the
acted
point of the
it out.
topic.
No, because if you believe in the sense of Christian morality, then you believe that there is no individualism. If you still believe that you are an individual, you can act however you like.
You
That
just
is the
said,
beauty
you
of it.
literally just said
That's
that
the
if
beauty
we
of it.
all
No.
acted out on Christian morals, the world would be better. You just said that.
Acting is different than a belief system. If you bring a belief system into place, that is not. You can laugh all you want, dude.
Bro, you just conceded the whole debate.
No.
Yes.
You did, and then you said you didn't.
A faith in
Whatever,
Christ came
dude.
with $10 says when your dumb idea backfires. He just left. Oh, bro.
You literally said, I agree.
It's kind of funny. He came up with the whole point of like, let's just have a nice conversation. That was the first thing he said. I always could tell when people come up with that is never going to be a nice conversation. It's never going to be a nice conversation.
But how is it better to say you can believe whatever you want to believe, but I'm going to dictate what you can do?
It makes no. You believe whatever you want, but I'll dictate what you do based off my standard and my beliefs. But I'm not telling you what to believe, though. I'm not telling you what to believe. You can feel whatever feelings you want, but I'm not telling you what to believe. Right? You just can't act that out based off my beliefs. All right, let's bring up the next guy. Just real quick, guys. Another plug. Where is it here? Go watch this video that I just put out where I test 5 Islamic miracles. 5 Islamic miracles. Go ahead and go watch that. Right? This is one of the bigger videos that we've done in a while. We put a lot of work into it. Abby's even in this video.
I am.
She is. So go watch that video. Go do it now, and then you can come back and watch me yell at the buffoons, the buffooneries. All right, let's bring up the next guest. Timothy Cox came in requesting prayers for my trial, Reformed Addict. Your trial. I don't know what's going on, but Lord, help Timothy, walk with Timothy as he goes through this thing that he's going through. In Jesus' name, amen.
Did you read Gabriel's?
No, did Gabriel post one? That was the greatest John win in history. Abby, can you note that as one to post?
Yeah.
Because that was interesting. Cheese grater. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. Give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Oh, just a quick question to you. What are Christian morals?
Yeah, so it could be summed up in. So you can sum it up to like the 10 Commandments, or you can sum it up to Jesus says the two greatest laws are, love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself, and then basically you can look at the 1,053 commandments Jesus gave in the New Testament, and then also look at what's been established in church history over the past 2,000 years. So there's a lot, but that'd be like the summary.
Yeah. Okay, and I would imagine at some point someone could argue that some of those contradict others. Not necessarily that they do, but someone could look at that and say that.
People can look at anything and say anything they want. I can look at a tree and
Exactly.
say it's a frog.
Well, exactly, right? So how do you decide who's right and who's wrong? right? Because two people can look at these set of morals and say, well,
Right.
this says one thing, this is another. How do you decide which one's which one to follow?
But okay, so can you just give me a moral standard that is in Christianity that you think makes the world worse?
I'm the second leader Bible and say it accepts slavery. In fact, it endorses it.
Sorry, can you say that
That's
again?
one. Endorsing slavery.
Okay, can you show me a Christian church that endorses slavery? Go ahead.
So you're talking about modern day Christian churches. That amongst your list, one of them, the
Right. So
Bibles.
what you're doing is you're pointing at
So
things in the
again,
past. Hold on. Listen.
okay.
This is what everybody does. They give a whole bunch of descriptions and say that that is the prescription of Christianity. The prescription of Christianity is Genesis 1, the garden. That is what it's supposed to be at the end of the day. So you can point at things that Christians have done in the past. It's awful, sure. I'd say they're not following the Christian moral standard that we're supposed to follow to, that we're supposed to achieve to. So can you again point to a Christian moral standard? Can you then again point to a Christian moral standard that we adhere to that makes the world worse? Go ahead.
That we adhere to today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I want to reiterate, my point was that different people can look at the same thing, and then as time moves on,
Sorry,
they contradict.
you're
Like,
very
well,
hard.
no, and I'm about to make a point.
Hold on, I'm not trying to cut you off. I can't hear you because you just got a lot of background.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I think someone just yelled. But yeah, that's my point, is that people can look back and say, well, that was actually wrong. We shouldn't do that anymore, right? So
your argument is no, I do not have a Christian standard. I think to make the world worse.
No, that is not my finished point. Right?
Can you give me a Christian standard that make the world worse then?
Make the world, I don't know, preventing abortion or LGBT rights. You're preventing rights from people.
Fine. So Christians don't allow abortion. How would the world be worse if everybody held to the sacrament of marriage and honored and raised their children?
How would people be worse by not allowing divorce? Easy. You married someone you shouldn't have wanted to marry.
No, you're not answering the question because you're focusing on abortion, right? So abortion would stop because people would be honoring the sacrament of marriage, which means that they would be in households where they're ready to child rear and take care of their children. How would the world be worse?
Because people have births that they don't intend to. It's an accident. You can't say how.
You're not answering the question. How would the world be worse?
It would be worse because people would have more children than they can comfortably take care of.
It's actually really hard to have a kid by accident.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to have kids by accident, and we also live in a system right now where nobody is really starving to death, right? Because we have an abundance of food and ability to take care of the children. I don't know what it's like in the States, but at least in Canada, they give you money to take care of your children. And there are a whole bunch of systems implemented to take care of children. So again, by implementing and having more children and not unaliving them, how would the world be worse?
Not unaliving children, and I just said because people will have more children and they can get in places that people are not ready to have children and they have children, they cannot take care of them personally.
If people are holding to the Christian moral, hold on. If people are holding the Christian moral standard, they're not going to engage in sex unless they're ready to have children.
I would think the world would be worse if people don't have sex if they want to have children because people like having sex, plain and simple.
So your argument is the world's going to be worse because people like things?
Yes, because you're preventing people from doing
they
like.
Okay, cool. So if people like unaliving people and we tell them they can't unalive people, is the world worse?
I should specify harmless things, not everything.
Can you answer the question? If people like, unaliving people and we tell them they can't unalive people, would the world be worse?
Is no, but
so just telling, so phenomenal. So telling people that they can't do things they like to do doesn't necessarily make the world worse, right?
Yes, but I think it makes it worse when we're making them not do something they like for a bad reason, I'd say.
Well,
anyway,
that's just begging the question. The world would not be worse if people waited until they are ready to have children before engaging in sex, correct?
And I disagree.
How would the world be worse?
I think because people could not have sex before they're ready to have a children, and people like doing that.
Okay, people like unaliving people.
This is going off topic.
No, it's not. It's not. It's literally on topic. People like unaliving people. Hold on. People like unaliving people. We tell them they can't do that. So what's the symmetry breaker?
The symmetry breaker is
Mhm.
that unaliving people is bad, as in
Yeah, right. Like
people
children in the
don't want to do
womb.
it. What?
Like children in the
Like
womb.
what?
Children in the womb.
I don't know. I don't consider that a thing that's alive. Well, alive maybe. A physical being, no. And it doesn't have a brain. It doesn't
Right.
think. I would not consider that a
Completely
person.
irrelevant. But your argument is you shouldn't unalive people. That's why you're not allowed to act out your desire. Right. So I'd say, hey,
Yeah.
you can't act out your desire of just having sex whenever you want unless you're ready to have a child, because you shouldn't unalive people. What's the symmetry
Okay.
breaker?
I told you, because the symmetry breakers, you think that an abortion is killing a person. I do not.
Okay. Let's say people like walking down the street and showing everybody their butthole. Can we tell them not to do that?
Depends.
What do you mean depends? You think people should be allowed to walk around down the street and show everybody their butthole?
Everybody know. People should
Right.
be
So
allowed
we
to
can
stay in a
tell people
community
that
where
they're not
everyone is
allowed to do
okay.
things they like to do, right?
When it makes other people, the idea is like you have like an equilibrium, right?
When
If
it
they
makes
like
people,
to do it, but
other people
everyone doesn't
uncomfortable. Okay.
like them doing it, then that's not
People
okay.
unaliving their
If-
babies makes me uncomfortable. So there
yeah.
you go. You're not
It
allowed to
doesn't
do
make
things
me
that make other people
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. You unaliving your baby makes me uncomfortable. So can you give me a standard that makes the world worse by adhering to Christian values?
Yeah. Again, the point I was trying to make, right? And you're
The
gonna
point anybody
harp
ever
on me
wants to
for this,
talk
but
about is sex. That's all you guys got. The only thing,
I
the
don't
only
even
beef,
want.
the only
Where
beef
I did not
Christian,
bring up
the
sex.
only
You did.
beef,
I did
the
not bring up
only
sex.
beef, the only beef people have with Christians is that we tell you where you can and cannot put your ding dong. If
That's
we
very
didn't talk
funny.
about, if
No,
we
I
didn't
did not
talk
bring up
about
sex.
people's
You
ding
did. I
dong, you
talked about
did,
marriage.
you
I
did,
specifically
you
talked
did. You
about
said people
marriage
like
and LGBT
like
rights.
aborting their
Those are not
babies.
sex.
You said people like
No, you
aborting their
brought up
babies.
sex. I brought up marriage.
You
That is
said,
different.
I'm going to tell you what you said. Shut up and listen. You said that people like aborting their babies and we tell them not to abort their babies. And then you said the HGTV community, right? Those two things centered around sex.
LGBT is not centered around sex. It's centered around relationships which include sex. And I talked
Really?
about marriage.
Really?
You brought
People
up
in the
sex.
HGTV community don't have sex?
I never said that. I said it has sex in it, but it's not centered around it.
Oh, if it did, okay. Okay.
you
You
did
know what?
say
You know
that.
what? All right, fine. We will allow for the HGTV community to do everything they want except sex.
Then why not?
Oh, so no sex. They can hang out. They can live together. They can do all the things that they want to do except sex.
Why not sex?
Well, so then your beef
Again, I
is with
didn't-
sex.
No, you're
People like
are
meth, therefore it should
right.
be illegal. Prenum came in with $2.
You also did say that you think it'd be worse because people like having sex.
Yeah, you did.
So you did bring that up.
You know, I did say that part, but I mean, anyway, the main point I'm trying to make, if you're allowed me to make it, right, is how the tradition or what people consider Christian values has changed over time. If everyone followed Christian values at those times, they would not have changed.
Yeah. So again, can you
So,
give a Christian
uh,
moral standard that makes the world worse?
I want to generally, yeah, I mean, I said one, LGBT rights.
So
I
if
think that
everybody
one's
held
very
to the
simple.
sacrament of marriage, how does the world get worse?
Because you're not allowed to have, let's say, woman on woman and man on man marriage.
So people aren't allowed to live out the certain desires. We tell people all sorts of desires they're not allowed to live out all the time. How would the world get worse?
How would the world get worse by allowing men to marry each other? How would the world get worse by allowing people to divorce?
Right. So if we take it to the extreme of everybody lived out that certain standard, right, the world would collapse and disappear.
Okay, I'm not taking it to that extreme. I'm taking it to the point where
Right. Okay. So, but
who are
here's the
gay-
thing. If we take it to the extreme of everybody lived out the Christian standard, the world would prosper.
If you take those extremes to a lot of different things, the world would be better. I would disagree, and I'd say there would be a better society where, you know, I can like make up just rules off the top of my head.
Now here's the
where
here's the thing.
people
Now,
went-
I'm going to get banned if we keep talking about the subject. So can you bring up an issue that you had that doesn't revolve around where you put your ding dong?
Yeah, I just said men marrying other men.
That's where you put your ding dong, you freaking ding dong.
That's just marriage. You don't have to bring up
What
the
happens
sex
in
portion.
marriage?
A lot of things. You live together. You have your.
Do you put your ding dong in
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
places? Is that the process of marriage? How do you consummate a marriage? How does one consummate a
one of-
marriage?
It is one aspect. It's
How
not
does
every
someone
aspect.
consummate a marriage?
Sex.
Great. Now bring up an issue that doesn't revolve around sex.
Women's rights.
Okay, fair enough. This is actually one topic I was expecting more people to go into, but nobody ever went to. Let's talk about women's rights. What in Christian standards take away from women's rights?
If we're looking at the Christian system, like the words evading me, but say bishops and that whole the words evading me, but that structure, women are not allowed to be part of it.
Yeah, so the being a leader in a church is not a right.
It is not. But why are they not allowed to?
So lots of people are not allowed to, right? It's not just
Yes,
women.
but why
right?
women?
Yeah,
but why not women?
Yeah, so for the standard in a church isn't a right. It isn't something that you get. It's an obligation that you have to the community. And the big reason for this is because of the possession of power.
Yeah, and why are women not allowed to have it?
Because they don't. They just physically don't.
Why not?
The only reason women have power is because men allow it.
And I find that atrocious thing to say.
But it's true, right? Hold on. Just real quick. Let's just real quick. Just think this through. If all the men in the world wanted to make women slaves, could women stop it?
No, and all the women in the world want to make men slaves, the men couldn't stop it either.
Yes, we could.
They could try.
We could stop it. If all the women wanted to take on all the men of the world, the men could stop it.
In a physical fight?
Yes.
Is your point that men can physically beat up women? Then yes, they can. So what?
Yes.
We have guns. If every woman in the world planned to take down every man in the world, they absolutely could.
The data shows with the pew-pews, men are actually better at that too because they have faster reaction times.
Yeah, and women, if they wanted to, could organize. Let's say, every woman in the world went out. They agreed they wanted to make all the men the slaves. They go, they gather all the pew-pews, or a significant amount of them. They train, they use it, they catch the men off guard, and all of a sudden, all the men are the slaves of the women.
And then when tested,
it is possible.
Right. So then when tested, if you take men in a pew-pew situation against women in a pew-pew situation, the men come out on top.
Yeah, but the idea is that the women have way more pew-pews than the men. Not to mention,
women do not have more pew-pews. Women do not have more pew-pews than men.
That's currently, false. Yes, but what if they did? What if they planned it? Like, if your point is physically that men are stronger than women, or men can shoot women better, and thus they do not get the right to do this.
I'm not saying women don't have. That's not my argument. You're not listening, and you need to relax. Like, we're having a genuine conversation now. We went from a point to they're just yelling at each other. Now we're having a genuine conversation. I think this is a real debate now. This is a real point and a real thing of contention, right? So we can have a genuine conversation on this. Right. The reality is, whether we like it or not, it's not a desire. It's not about I want it. I would prefer if that we just had this egalitarian standard. I would prefer that. I genuinely would. But the reality of the world that we live in is we don't. Men are the possessors of power. Right. And the only way that women have power is because men allow it. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. It's not a preference. I would rather have it that way. But that is the way it is. The only way that they can have it is if we give it to them. Because if in a situation, hypothetical situation, where it was men versus women and who's going to take over the world and who's going to have it, the women lose.
If you're just saying every man fought against every woman, perhaps, but it's not necessarily true. And in this case, it's a warfare state. You could argue that the women would be more well organized and they'd be able to strategize the men and eventually take over.
Yeah, so you're just giving logical possibilities, and sure, it's logically possible. What I'm saying is statistically, it doesn't happen. Right? There's a reason that men. So, for example, there's a reason that only men have ever made it into the Navy SEALs. There's a reason for that.
Yes, because they're physically stronger. I agree. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like that is a reason to keep them out of, let's say, a position of power, because what matters there, I don't think, is just physical might. And what you could do, for example, right, is just give the woman, a gun. Have every priest have a gun.
So can't say that word.
Then they have power.
Can't say the G word.
Right. Sorry, the pew-pew. Yep. Then they just have the power then. Like, I don't understand why this is such a
because even having a pew-pew does not make you equal. If that was the case, then women would make it into the Navy SEALs. There's a lot
Yes,
more.
but like
There's a lot
we're
more to
talking.
incorporate than just having a pew pew. There's reaction time.
Yes.
There is speed. There's athleticism. There's strength. There's more. There's more than just like you have a pew pew. I have a pew pew. Who shoots who first? Right. If I can carry out my fellow comrades in battle, or if I can engage in hand to hand combat in CT. What is it called? A CTR combat, I forget what it is, because that happens all the time too. There's a whole bunch of things that you have to take into consideration, and men come out on top on this. And this is one of the reasons, specifically in a church. It's not in everything in life. Like in politics, we're perfectly fine with women leading in politics. In just the standard everyday life, we're perfectly fine with women leading in those areas. But there's a certain standard in the church is that the priest, the pastor, is supposed to stand against danger, stand against the wolves, and they are the possessors of power, so they're the ones doing it. Same thing in my home right now. Me and my wife in our home, we have a lot of equal views in the house and a lot of things shared. But at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, I'm the possessor of power, so it's my job to handle it.
I just you're saying that should a priest carry a gun then, right? Like the idea is
you can't say that word. If you say it again, I
not
gotta
to
boot
mention
you.
that, right?
Hold on, real quick. Don't
that
say the
standard,
G
right?
word. Hold on. Don't say the
Sorry,
G word.
I'm
I gotta
so
boot
sorry.
you.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Okay, but again, by that standard, you would have to would say the most physically fit member of that whatever society that congregation is being held at, right? Then carry the power, not the power, the um, what's it called? I don't know why these words are evading me. The let's say just be the priest, right? I can't remember the world, right? Would it just be the most physically fit member then? Let's say it's
no. There's a lot of other.
I do think pastors should be in shape though.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of pastors who don't hold to the fact that they don't take care of their temple and they're not actually living that out properly. So I would agree with you on that aspect. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more than just being the possessors of power. But that is an aspect to it.
There's a lot more to it, right? So
Yeah,
when
sure.
you have all these different,
but that is an aspect.
factors,
You don't
why is
remove
this a
it.
deal breaker? Why is it a deal breaker then? Why is this difference? Which against humans we can say it's so extreme, but you take,
But
let's
I just
face it,
explained.
not
I
all
just
the
explained
pastors
why it's
are.
different. I don't want to explain it again.
Okay, well, sorry. Let's take all the pastors, right? They're not at the upper range of human capability, right? Like some of them are, but not all of them are. There are certainly women out there who trump them. Why are they not allowed?
So I say that last part again.
There are certainly some women at the upper range of human capability who are better than, let's say, 30% of pastors. So why are they not allowed?
Don't know, but this is the standard that has been set, and ultimately, it wouldn't make the world worse or better if we change the standard. So there are Christians that hold to egalitarian. There are Christians that hold to egalitarian points of view that would say that, yeah, absolutely, a woman could be a leader of a church. I don't personally hold to that, but let's say for the sake of argument that we simply said yes or no to that. How would that change the overall viewpoint of the world? Because again, the pastor role isn't a reward. If you're going to the pastor role as a reward or something that you get to do, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's a servitude. It's an act of enslavement.
It sucks.
It's not a good thing.
No, I understand that, but again, you're limiting said woman's right to do such a thing. The world would be better if they had the option to do so if they desire.
Rights are arbitrary, right? So again, you're just kind of bringing up a one individual desire. So before we talked about individual desires in sexuality, now we're talking about individual desires in womanhood, right? They're not losing anything in life. They don't lose something, right? And rights are arbitrary. They're just something that we assign. It's not something that they just have.
I think good and bad are arbitrary. I feel like almost you can see nearly anything that like this is relative and arbitrary.
Sure,
so
that's
I don't
fine,
see
but
the point there saying it's arbitrary. I don't feel like that makes any sense.
What I'm saying is you're saying we're taking away the rights. Rights aren't real. That's what I'm saying. No, they've never had the right to be. They never had the right to be a woman pastor. So we're not taking away the rights.
Yeah, I don't think good and evil are real. So you're not really making anything evil. It doesn't
No, my argument. That's not my argument. My argument isn't for a certain standard of this is good, this is evil. That's not my argument. My argument is that the world would be better if everybody followed Christian morals. And so far, the only argument that you brought forward is people have certain desires and they couldn't live out that desire. But people have all sorts of desires they can't live out all the time. So I don't know how that makes the world worse.
I think the world, for me, the world would be better if every desire that can be carried out, then what's it called? That that balances out that it's more desire. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a way of saying this. It's every desire that can be carried out that doesn't negatively impact other people to a degree that, outweighs their desire should be allowed to be carried out.
So everybody who has a desire. Okay, so do you think I should have the desire to run around the street and show everybody my butthole? Or I should be allowed to
Again,
act that out?
if you lived in a society, right, that that didn't negatively impact everyone around
Well,
you,
hold on.
everyone who
You
did
said
that
to a
too,
certain standard. You said to a certain standard. So like, let's say it makes people uncomfortable for a little bit, but I have that desire so intense to me that if I don't show people my butthole, I'm going to be in a permanent state of depression. I might even end up unalived from like not eating food from that depression.
Yes, I argue that would make society better or the world better.
So
Because let's say
hold on.
everyone had
This
to decide.
person.
Let's say
Hold on. So do you think this me as that person, I should be allowed to go show everybody my butthole?
I would say so because, and here's my reason why. Let's say everyone had the desire to do that, and they had to do such a degree that
You're changing my standard. My standard here is there's one specific person who has this desire to show everybody their butthole. Everybody gets uncomfortable from it and they don't like it. But if I don't do it, I'll be so depressed that I'll end up in like a state of permanent despair. I should be allowed to do it.
Again, like it depends on how much people dislike it. But yes, there is a point where then yes, they should be allowed to. Of course, we, as I said, we could build towards them to help that individual, right? But let's say this is constant, like for
So
30 years or so,
I just want to read the super chat. Hold on. Free the wife from cruel and unusual pole work. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like, again, we have to like, I'm getting more specifics here, right? So I can make my case, but let's say it's for 30 years and that small level of discomfort everyone around them feels from like, let's say 20,000 people for that time could theoretically outweigh or probably would outweigh that one person not feeling discomfort, right?
So I
in which case the answer is no, right? But then again, that factors into what I said earlier about it's to that standard of other people's discomfort versus your,
Right. I think this is a terrible standard for lots of reasons. So for one, if somebody's discomfort was so high, they would be allowed to go show people their butthole, like you said. Right. Then we have another standard of like, well, what if I'm so poor that I want to steal from people? So I just go steal from really rich people all the time to the point where they don't really notice when I'm taking it, but I'm going around stealing from all these people. Well, ultimately, that would lead to my better outcome and me being allowed to live my desire and wouldn't have such a huge negative effect on them. I'd be allowed to do that. And I think you lead to all sorts of absurdities if you're just measuring people being allowed to live out their desires as long as it doesn't have a higher degree of harm to the person they're doing it against. I think it leads to all sorts of absurdities.
I'm sure it does, but generally I feel like that would be a better world. Like,
I don't think that's a better world, man. I don't think people should be allowed to show people their butthole and
we
steal.
can disagree about what's a better. No, sure, we can disagree about what's a better world, but let's see.
Hold on. Let's just ask the chat, guys. Chat. Do you think it's a better world for people to be allowed to show other people their butthole and steal from people? Marvel came in $10, struggling with grief of my brother's passing. Prayers to keep my strength and focus online. Jesus Christ saved my life in that hard time. Thank you. Lord, I don't know this man's name, but I ask that you walk with him as he grieves this process. But more importantly, that you welcome his brother into your kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen. So everybody in the chat saying, no, this is not a bad system.
Well, I probably didn't mischaracterize what I said, right? For like that butthole example, it depends. Generally, I'd say no because the mild discomfort of 20,000 people for a length of time would outweigh the one, right?
Well, how do you measure that?
Yeah, it is a question of how you would measure that. We're talking about theoreticals, right? And this is like an actual question of philosophy. What if there's this monster which you have like experiences so much joy, but you just funnel all your resources into that one monster so that it would experience more joy than everyone else could? And obviously the answer to that, what you would feel is no. But it's a philosophical quandary. But generally, I would say, it tends to be better, not always, to have people, live up to desires more, especially if it comes at zero detriment to others or very minor.
That doesn't really answer my question. It seems like you've invented this world that leads to absurdities, right? And you have no actual standard of way of measuring it. Where again, if everybody held to the Christian worldview, we have clear data that shows that it would drastically improve.
I want to say, I didn't say this quite yet. I don't think it's necessarily incorrect to say that, because again, I could just say I believe no one should be allowed to murder, or I should say kill, technically, because murder by definition
Smurder.
is illegal or immoral. Um,
Say
so,
smurder.
huh?
Say
Okay,
smurder.
yeah, I can say murder. Smurder? Oh, shoot, sorry, smurder. Yeah, I can say, well, let's say smurder, right? I can say a world where no one can smurder, right? That's just better, right? Just generally. So I don't think it's necessarily wrong to say that, but I don't think it would be the best world, nor one where we should strive to
But
be
you're
in.
not giving me a
Because
reason why, outside of people have certain desires that they're not allowed to live out. But people have all sorts of desires all the time that they're not allowed to live out. And then you have this arbitrary standard of, well, they could live out the certain desires as long as it doesn't take away from other people's certain desires. But that's impossible to measure. Right. So like, for example, you brought up the thing of abortion. I am distraught. Like, I get sick about the fact that people have the abortions. And there's not, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people on that. Is that not a significant, like, you're technically unaliving a person, unaliving their future, and then harming all of us. But then you say, if we say to them that they can't do it, then we're harming all of them by forcing them to be baby making machines. Like, it's an impossible way to measure. But if we hold to the Christian standard of everybody doesn't engage into sex until they're ready to actually have children, right? And then they actually end up child rearing. Well, we end up in a place where we have no STDs, no STIs. We have children who don't end up in prison systems because the parents are home, because most people in prison systems have absent fathers or absent mothers or whatever it may be. And then we also have a less unaliving of people, and we have more people being put into the infrastructure and growing the system, and people are going to take care of us when we're old. So I just do not see how your system is better than the Christian system.
I mean, the system being allowing abortion, we can make a system that's almost identical to what you said, where people are allowed to do all that, but then they're just allowed to have abortion, right? And let's say they can have sex, and I'd argue that's
But
a better
then
world.
you have the problem of what I said, is where you have all of us who are on this side who think that's a moral atrocity and are getting sick and hurt by it.
Yes, and then you have all the people who think it's a moral
Right, but what I'm saying is you don't actually have a standard. What I'm saying is you don't actually have a standard. You're just saying that people should be allowed to do what they want as long as it doesn't hurt other people. But you have this thing that's doing what they want, but that's hurting other people. So I'm saying is you don't actually have a standard, right? It's inconsistent.
Okay, here's a question: what is your standard? Just to get an idea.
The Christian standard.
Sorry, a standard to like test for what is good and what is not.
By following the Christian moral ethics system that's been put forward. So worshiping God alone, honoring God, basically doing the 10 Commandments, right? Not coveting thy neighbor's knife, not collecting interest, doing all these standards. I think it's an overall improvement and would lead to better outcomes in society.
No, maybe misunderstood. What is your standard to determine what is good and what isn't?
Through the Christian standard.
Okay, wait. I'm going to say this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because I'm not talking about a moral system of ethics. I'm not talking about what is right and what's wrong. What I am saying is people hold to the Christian standard, we're going to have better outcomes.
Okay, so what you're saying is a better outcome is what you're going for.
Yes, that's what I'm doing the whole time.
Okay, and then and what would you define as a better outcome? It was just
we would lead to overall flourishing of humanity.
The overall flourishing of humanity is what you're going for.
We'd have greater making properties. We lead to better flourishing. We lead to better happiness. We lead to better everything all around. And the data is clear on this, right? Christians are happier than secularists. You can see this in Pew Research Center.
I have seen different researches of these things, and one of the main things I come to is try to remember. I mean, again, I wouldn't necessarily disagree. I want to make that clear. I feel like a lot of moral systems, if we were to have everyone follow them, and again, I said no schmurder, no, not necessarily, let's just say no stealing, no, not necessarily no lying, but no saying court. I guess is that a commandment? I think it is no false witness. Then the world would be better. From my definition of better. So I wouldn't necessarily disagree. One of the main things I have with a problem with a stance like this, right, would be that it sort of stalls out the progress of moral development because the
No, it
Christian
doesn't.
morals of today.
That is not the Christian moral standard. Is that we stop. That we stop there. The
Well,
Christian moral standard is that we
it-
work towards sanctification and improving upon it.
that is true, but let me explain. The Christian moral standard of today is different than the Christian moral standard from, let's say, 1,500 years ago. And a lot of these changes were spearheaded. The Christian moral standard today is not different than the Christian standard from 1,500 years ago in the way that it was like
So
practiced.
the standard has always been Genesis 1. That has always been the standard. The Garden of Eden. That's the goal that we fell into, right? And then we fell out of that, and there's this process of negotiating to get back to that point. So it's not that the Christian standard has changed. It's that Christians in their negotiation of the standard has had issues of acting it out. And so my whole point here is that if we acted it out properly, the world would drastically improve to the point where we get back to the Garden of Eden.
Okay, and then the way that is decided, the way we act out properly, as you say, that way of properly has changed over time. People have thought one way was proper in the past, they thought a different way is proper today.
Like what?
Is that correct? Like owning slaves. Christians in the past thought that was fine, Christians today think that isn't.
So yeah, so still today, people think it's okay to own slaves. You have prison systems.
Well,
So
some
it's
people
changed.
do, but like, generally, I'm talking
Are
about
you
the
against
Christian
prison
standard
systems?
today. Yes, actually.
So you think we should abolish all prison systems and release them all?
No, I think the current system is not well
I'm
made,
not saying
but
the
I
prison
feel like
system is well, but it doesn't matter how well you treat them. They're still slaves.
yeah, I think that's wrong.
So
That
then you think we should
specific-
abolish the prison system?
No,
Then what do you suggest? Because either they're slaves or they're not. Doesn't matter how good you
I
treat them.
think we should reform the current prison system.
Even if they're reformed, they're still slaves.
Slaves would require work to be done. We can have them
No, it
work for
doesn't.
their own.
And the work,
You're right, it
and the
doesn't.
work
It
you are
doesn't.
requiring them to do is the Reformation.
I mean, yeah, you're not necessarily wrong. I want to spend, I want to go back because I feel like you're making this point. I think it doesn't necessarily break my point before because people say the Christian system there 1,500 years ago was that you could own, let's say, a cattle slave.
Chattel slavery.
Chattel
Yeah,
slave.
the prison
yeah.
system is chattel slavery.
It's chattel slave outside of prison systems.
So you're
Just
just
so I can
taking
make this
slavery.
point. Like,
You're just taking slavery into saying who can and cannot own the slavery. Like it's not about moral system what you should achieve to, right? It's of course there's an
I
area
understand.
where we negotiate, but Christians throughout history it's Christians that because of the Christian standard went in and said that hey we should stop slavery. Like the Underground Railroad was started by Christians.
And I say that is not because they're trying to be better Christians. And that is because
Yes, it is.
everyone there was a Christian. You can say
The guy
yes, it is.
literally quoted Paul. That's why
I'm
he
sure-
quoted Paul from the Bible to
And
say
the
that we should
people on the
stop.
other side were also quoting the Bible. They made a whole Bible about this. I agree
They
did
made
use
a
Bible.
new
It's a great
Bible,
resource.
and they took out all the information that was against slavery.
Yes.
So that way
Yes.
people thought that it was okay to be slaves. Doesn't that tell you
Of course.
something?
Oh yeah. No, like I agree it wasn't the Bible. What I'm saying is that both sides have points that use the Bible. Right? If you're saying
But
that
if the
one
other side
was
had to
Christian
take
because
out
they used the
points
Bible.
from the Bible, then they're not adhering to the Christian standard, are they?
Yeah, and he quoted Paul. He quoted a piece of Paul, not the entire Bible, right? The other one's saying a bunch of individual quotes as well.
They didn't
Like, my point
pull
is
out
that-
parts of the Bible and give it to other people. They're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
They said there's this Christian standard that we're all made in the image of God. So we all should try to achieve this. They knew this. They knew the Old Testament. They're not picking and choosing. That is the standard. Perenum came in with $10, says you should check out some papal bulls on Sictum Didum, Sublimis Deus, Sicton, and all the argue against slavery before enlightenment. The very first person to officially declare that slavery was wrong was a pope. Are you going to tell me he didn't know the Old Testament?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the people on both sides of this issue use the Bible, right? Everyone then was a Christian.
All right.
Of course, it's going to be Christians to abolish it.
I think I got to jump on, man. We're going full circle. Real quick. Are
Okay,
you
yeah,
an
no,
atheist?
that's
Are you an atheist?
yes.
Can you just get
Yeah.
to sum up? Just give me a quick summary of why you are an atheist and you don't believe in God.
Um, because, and I'm gonna add a little bit. Sorry, real quick. For shoot, there's atheism, there is theism, and there's agnostic. I'm not agnostic because I don't know that a God is even possible. I think that's necessary to be agnostic. I'm atheist because, again, I don't know if I'd have no reason to believe in a God and have no reason to believe it is even a possibility.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate your time. God bless.
Yep. I mean, have a nice day.
Almost got him. I'm not going to say God bless. So far, all I get for arguments, guys, all I get from arguments for like the Christian standard ain't it is two things that all I have gotten so far is that the Christian standard hasn't been held forever. Well, okay, even if we grant that, the Christian standard today is still better, and nobody's shown me that it isn't. Or they go, people have certain desires that you tell them you can't act out certain desires, and that's worse. We do that all the time. Even the Secularist Human Manifesto tells people they can't act out certain desires, right? There is not a moral system implemented that tells people they can't act out certain desires. So again, if we're looking at overall outcome, why is it worse? This is the question that we have at hand. I am waiting for Abby. We need her to mark stamps, so I don't know where she is or what she's done. So we're gonna hang out for a little bit. I really like. I thought maybe I think the best. Listen, I think the best argument that people have, and you might even get a taco because I'm not sure I can really get into it, is the differentiation between men and women. Right, that's the only one that I think can have any ground if somebody's going to make a solid argument. No hate like Christian love just says everybody who's dumb. Like, this is just the dumbest. No hate like Christian love is literally anybody who ever had a Christian tell them no about something. That's all it is. It's just like, oh, they told me something. They told me something before that I didn't like, and so therefore they hate me. I got him to do the atheist thing for the 100 atheist video.
Okay.
So you can mark like.
Do you know what time?
About like 2 minutes ago. Something like that. Something like that. And ad hominems, by the way, are not just insults. Ad hominems are your argument is wrong because, and then insert insult. So I hate that too. It's like if somebody gives an ad hom, right? It's to discredit your argument. If simply calling you dumb is just calling you dumb, that's not an ad hominem. People, come on, read your fallacies. Just read them, right? Ad hominem is to discredit an argument. So like this would be an ad hominem. We can't trust Abby. She's a woman. So clearly every argument that she ever gives is just wrong because women are never right about things. That would be an ad hominem. But me just looking, Abby, you're dumb. That's not an ad hominem. That's just calling her dumb. Mm-hmm. All right, let's bring up the next guest. Oh, before we do, guys. Oh, I don't have it up. Go watch my latest video that I just put out on YouTube where I test 5 Islamic miracles. Tested them myself, went out and did it all by myself. Go watch that. It's the latest video on YouTube. You should go do it right now. You should go do it right now. You shouldn't even wait. Go get that done.
Oh.
The most respected saint ever is a woman. Based. That's actually true.
Who's that?
Mary.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Truth Seeker. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
I'm 19.
All right. When were you born?
2006, May 21st.
That's good.
Who is this really?
What?
Oh, hello?
Who is this really?
You mean my real name?
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah. I don't think you're of age.
Why?
I think I know who that was, and it's a kid. Because I recognize the voice.
Okay.
Hello.
Juju, hello, how are you? And just real quick,
Oh,
how old are
back.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am 36 years old.
All right, give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you on. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. Hi.
That you follow the Christian standard based on the Ten Commandments, and that
It's part
the
of it.
faith, part of it,
Yeah.
And that the faith is open to, let's use the term evolve, to move towards an improvement, if you will. I think part of why that's a thing, in my opinion, is because you have multiple different ideals, philosophies, and growth. And if everybody has one mindset, you deny the ability for that growth.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is, or how this is an argument against my stance.
Well, so my point is, my argument, my stance would be that instead of if everybody followed one teaching, you would have multiple ideals. I mean, Christianity in of itself is multi-secular. You have both existent and non-existent forms of Christianity.
I'm still not getting how this is an argument against my stance.
Okay, so for instance, Catharism.
What?
Catharism?
What's Catharism?
Catharism was a form of Christianity that existed in the Middle Ages that was eliminated by the Catholic Church via.
Right. So are you just going to bring up heretical viewpoints that appropriated the word Christian?
No, it was a, well, if that's the statement that's made that it's heretical, then which is the correct form of Christianity?
So anything that holds to like an Apostles' Creed.
Okay. So if that's the case and they did hold to it and they were eliminated, are they then Christian?
They wouldn't have been eliminated if they held to an Apostles' Creed.
So in that case, so you're primarily sticking to Catholicism then?
No.
And Orthodoxy?
So I'm definitely apostolic for sure. And I think there's a lot in apostolic tradition and things like this. But I wouldn't necessarily say that Protestants are off the moral standard or the moral code. I think they disagree on a lot of tertiary, relevant concepts to what we're talking about today. So, for example, like Catholics, Orthodox, and Protestants all agree on the standard of how a Christian should behave for the most part, for the vast majority of the part when it comes to moral ethics. They would disagree on the reasons why.
Right. So I think the two other points that I have is, could you not also then argue that you say the Christian standard is the way to go? Well, according to the teachings, then I would argue, is not Sikhism the better way to go?
How is Sikhism better?
I mean, I'm just using an example. Sikhism teaches a lot of great fundamental ideals.
Like what?
Well, very similar to some Christian things. They obviously believe in one single, formless, eternal, and all-prevailing God. They believe in honest living and work. They believe in making sure that the community is okay. They're very, very active when it comes to feeding the poor, making sure people have housing, things of that nature.
Okay, so those things that you mentioned are the Christian moral standard. So you're just saying they're living the Christian moral standard.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not discrediting that there aren't benefits to the Christian, but my statement here to the argument as to what you have said is that obviously it's a completely different religion.
Right, but so again, it's not the topic, right? If everyone followed the Christian moral standard, the world would be a better place. You just mentioned another religion that's also following parts of the Christian moral standard.
Correct.
So you're just agreeing with me.
To a degree. I mean, but this is also a perfect example. I mean, if we, not to quote James Madison, but if all men were angels, no government would be necessary.
Okay, so you agree that the Christian moral standard is angelic?
I don't think it's necessarily angelic. Let me restate that.
So just real quick, hold on, just real quick. I just want to read this before
Yeah.
it gets lost. Perenum came in $5. They held to the Gnostic system of good and evil that automatically disqualifies from being Christian. Yeah, I agree with that. But that's a bit of a side topic. Go ahead, say that again.
Yeah. No, okay. So I will say, yes, it would be angelic because it is defined by angelic. Angelic is a form of Christianity. It comes from Judeo-Abrahamic beliefs.
I was just using angelic to say like holy to a great
Oh,
standard.
yeah. Well, according to, I mean,
Yeah. So,
but I think we say that it is because we have come to that place in our society. It has been defined by that.
Right. That's fine. But all I'm saying is that it seems that you agree with me.
To a degree, I think so. But the only stick in the mud is we have to be rational in my mind. I mean, do you believe that there are mental health issues? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about, like, for instance, the sanctity of marriage. Now, in a perfect scenario, everybody following Christian teaching, that would be a wonderful establishment. The problem is people aren't like that. Perfect example, my friend grew up in a household where his father pulled a pew on him, put it in his face.
The problem is you're describing what is, and that's fine. But my argument is what ought.
Well, again, what ought, it's just, if all men could be that, of course. If all men could be Sikhists, of course. If all
I don't know what entirely encapsulates Sikhism, but the standards that you gave in Sikhism is from Christianity. So it just seems like
there are a few differences in that.
Can you give me a difference?
Absolutely. So in Sikhism, you have every right to defend yourself. If that means taking a life, you have that right to do so.
You have that right in Christianity too. But also, if everybody held to the Christian moral standard, you wouldn't have to defend yourself.
But because in this scenario, as you said, it's not a realistic scenario. You aren't saying that this is something that could come about and
I do. I believe it could happen, but what I'm just saying is you're describing descriptive statements from the past and saying people haven't achieved that. Yeah, but that's not my argument. My argument is if people did strive for this, right, and did achieve it, the world would be better, just overall better.
But it would be extremely difficult because we have things like mental health issues and stuff like that. Well, yeah, no, of course, absolutely. Good things are extremely difficult, but we cannot deny the fact that it's going to be a scenario of, would you tell your partner, your spouse, to just take the abuse, take the suffering, take the pain, take whatever comes your way, and not seek a divorce because it is the Christian thing to do?
But in the Christian moral standard, there is no abuse.
Right, but I'm saying in this scenario, if we haven't gotten there yet, we're moving towards that.
Okay, well, the only church that really says that you have to stay in the marriage for crazy situations would be the Catholic Church. And at the end of the day, they still have the power for divorce if it goes way overboard. So like an abuse, the Catholic Church can absolve your marriage.
Yes.
But outside of that, most other Christian churches do allow for divorce for things like abuse and things like this. But again, if we're all living to the Christian moral standard, there is no abuse.
See, my issue is, to me, this feels like a very fairy tale-esque scenario. We're talking about a world where everybody has achieved enlightenment, right?
We're talking about a world where everybody becomes like Christ, which is the goal of a Christian.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that is, most Christians, I think, could do with a little bit of Christ-like in their life. But I mean, it's that perfect scenario. But my question is, could that not be achieved through other formats?
If you did it through other formats, it's still the Christian moral system.
Well, so one of the most predominant things about Christianity is the belief in Christ. In order to achieve, you can't go to heaven, according to Christianity, unless you say, I believe that Christ is my savior and I
Right.
acknowledge him as. So,
Right, but even if Christians are wrong about that, let's say there is no actual Christ and it's just something that we made up, but we are constantly aligning ourselves with the person of Christ, who is the ideal figure, and trying to strive towards that, those people are going to be better than people who do not have that ideal figure to align themselves with.
so it's not so much, just for clarity, because I think some people were missing this, and I think I'm coming to terms with it. It's not so much that it is everybody should be Christian. It's so much that Christian ideology is to improve towards a better future.
Well, I think everybody should be Christian. That is my
Well,
fundamental
yes.
viewpoint. But what I'm saying is, in this
In
specific
this,
topic, it's if
correct.
everybody adhered to the Christian moral system, the world would be better. Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I think that's, I mean, I think that's very true. Christ taught peace. Christ taught, taking care of your neighbor, making sure. Basically, the premise is you're only as strong as your weakest member. And so I think that's an absolutely fair statement. So, in that sense, I think it's right. But necessarily, I don't think that if the statement was everybody should be Christian, I think that's where I would put my brakes and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. But as to the theories of Christianity, when it comes
part
to
of adhering to the Christian moral system is being a Christian and following God and believing the things Christians believe, because we believe it's immoral to deny God.
Okay, so this is the thing then. So if that's the case, we've just said that Sikhism has very similar Christian things, but they don't believe in the Christian God. So therefore, if you're just saying that it's just the behaviors and the thought processes
Right.
and the
So
the
people
teachings,
who align themselves, because just the quick search of Sikhism is, and from what Buddy said, they believe in like this Gnostic version of like good and evil, which is very weird. But again, I'm not really studied on it. But Christians, we believe that there is this standard of what is good, and then evil is just a negation of what is good. So Christians
correct.
constantly having this standard of what's good and then aligning themselves towards it are probably going to end up achieving a higher standard of good than those who don't.
Oh, 100%. Well, anybody, I mean, that's Neoplatonism personified.
Okay, so then it seems that it'd be better to have this idea of the Christian God and align yourself with it.
I think I personally believe if you are pushing towards a personal goal of enlightenment, seeking the best possible outcome of life, a man, a woman, a person can be whoever they need to be and never hear Christ or God's name and still live a Christian life. That I can agree with. But
I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't think some people can be fully Christ-like without knowing Christ.
I don't know. Because what if it was a place that had never been in contact?
Yeah, I don't think they can be fully Christ-like.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, see, that I disagree with. I think that I think that's the pin in the needle for me, right?
Okay, give me an example then of a place where they have not encountered Christ, where they are fully Christ-like.
The Bushmen of Africa.
And how are they fully? Which Bushmen in Africa? What's the name of the tribe?
I couldn't give you the name of the tribe off the top of my head, but many of the Bushmen in Africa have no concept of ownership. They believe in sharing with everyone. They believe in caring for family, friends, the whole 9 yards.
Do they believe in forgiving their enemy?
I don't know. I haven't
Do
interviewed them on that one.
Do they believe in feeding their enemy? Do they believe in turning the other cheek? Do they believe if somebody asks you to go a mile that you go 2 miles with them?
That'd be an excellent question. I'm not sure on that one, and that's a very good argument on that one. So I appreciate that. To that one, I wonder then, would you not say that the teachings of the Haudenosaunee are counterintuitive to that?
I don't know what the Haudenosaunee are.
The Iroquois Confederation.
Still don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. That's fine. It was a group of First Nation individuals who created a conference after warring by the leadership of a medicine woman who basically said, we're not going to fight, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, and created an environment that's very similar to what you're talking about, of saying, feed your enemy, clothe your enemy, try and push towards a better future.
Okay. So do they also believe in the evangelist aspect of going and sharing this with all nations? Because I've never
yeah,
heard of them.
absolutely. Anybody could have had the opportunity to join the Confederation.
That's not what I asked. How do you spell it? Haudenosaunee?
Just look up the Iroquois Confederation. It's the easiest way to find it.
How do you spell that?
IRAQI. No. Sorry. Yeah, IROQUOIS.
IROQ what?
IROQUOIS.
UIOS?
IS, I think. No O in that I. I could be mistaken though. I just took it down because I wasn't looking.
So they were established in 1722. And so the standards that you're bringing forth just seems to be like Christian standards. I can't find anything about their belief systems.
It's fine. It was less about a belief system, more about a rule of laws, which would, be established, so to speak, as a belief system to a degree. Not a religion, but their religion was more animalistic, or not animalistic, animalism and shamanism.
Yeah, so just the simple fact that they were established in 1755 has me inclined to believe that they heard of Christ.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Right. So, but your argument is that there are people out there who haven't heard of Christ that can achieve Christ-like status.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Trying to think of. I mean, it's all theoretical. So I'll be honest, I have no direct proof of it because Christianity spread like wildfire.
Based.
But at the same time, many other faiths did as well.
Not based.
So, I mean, you can't deny the fact that Islam spread like wildfire in a short period of time.
Yeah. Sure did.
Yeah. And Buddhism spread like wildfire.
No, I don't think as much.
Not as much, but it did go from India all the way up through Indochina, China, Korea, Japan, certain islands in those areas. I mean, that's a wide range. Okay. Manichaeism for the longest time was going to spread at that same level.
So, to be honest, man, it doesn't sound like you have a Christian worldview that you think is wrong.
I don't necessarily have anything against one facet or another. I think, like I said before, it takes all to make all.
So then the world would be better if we all adhered to Christian morals?
To Christian morals, yes, not to everybody having to be one.
Well, that is Christian
faith.
Morals.
And see, that's where I disagree. I think some Christian morals have a lot of value, but I don't think all.
Okay, so how would the world be worse? How would the world be worse if everybody adhered to the religion?
Well, because, as I said before, the opportunity to grow and learn comes from alternative viewpoints, both challenging one's ideals and making them feel predominantly dedicated to that ideal, or for them to say, you know what, maybe I should change my view on this.
Sure. So historically speaking, so just to seal man your argument is that if we all agreed on Christianity, we wouldn't be inclined to challenge each other and have growth and find new truths. But historically speaking, we see the contrary, right? A lot of philosophy and science were mostly established by the Christian worldview. This is why a lot of universities are named after saints. This is why like a lot of hospitals are named after saints. A lot of philosophical concepts come from saints and come from religious people. Is the goal to strive and find new things. There is this Catholic belief of two books right? There is the book of scripture, and then there's the book of nature, and the book of scripture must be interpreted through the book of nature. So it doesn't seem throughout history that we would just cease to learn and cease to grow. It actually seems contrary, that if we
Well,
had a prominent Christian leadership, we would continue to grow and even strive for it.
well, I mean, the problem with that statement is you can just even look at cases like the early Christianity with Hypatia and things of that nature.
What's
I
Hypatia?
mean, Hypatia was a scientific mathematician who was killed for being quote unquote a witch during the end of the Roman era and the rise of Christianity. She was stripped of her clothes at 65 and flayed alive in a church.
Was she stripped and flayed alive for math?
Basically, they thought that her teachings were heretical and killed her accordingly.
What teaching specifically did they call heretical?
Anything. They were convinced that her devices that she used to perform math and
Well, hold on. I need
the
a
research of
specific
the stars-
example, please. Not a vague reference. Because it says here she's the head of the Platonist school in Alexandria, and Christian values had no issues with Platonism.
Neoplatonism,
Because Platonism was the foundation which came from Aristotelianism, and Aristotelianism was the foundation that came from Aquinas. So, and Aquinas was primarily a Christian philosopher. So I'm very curious what things that they said of her that were demonic and flayed her for.
Well, the issue they had was her defense of paganism and Judaism.
Right. So again, the standard of us learning and growing in the scientific field wasn't haltered because of her viewpoints.
But
on that.
they burned after her killing. They burned the library there because
well,
it was all.
How do you know she had great teachings if we don't have them?
Because some of them were spread out, not all of them. But the point is, it's just like the Library of Alexandria. Once it's destroyed, you can't get it back.
Okay, but then again, if it was destroyed, then you don't know if they were great teachings or not, and you don't know what the teachings were.
Well, some of them got out. I mean, she was well known in the Roman world.
But then why didn't they destroy those?
Well, because they weren't in that library at the time.
Okay.
And many of them were recovered by the
right.
Islamic caliphates,
right.
which we then
but here's the thing, though. It's not that Christians, like, I can grant everything that you're saying, and it's not that Christians are hindering growth due to disagreement. It's that there's this one descriptive case where they did something that I don't think is something that Christians should do, and it's not part of the Christian moral system.
Oh, absolutely. We agree on that.
Right. And so they did this one specific case, and it wasn't because of the growth of ideas and humanity. So then we come back to the thing, what is the current Christian moral system that we have that would hinder us?
Correct. Well, and that's the thing, we grew, right? Just the same way that getting our information from the Crusades. The Crusades, you and I can both
Crusades
agree
are great.
the Crusades.
No, I agree. I think the Crusades are a good thing.
Really?
Yep.
The murder and killing of people. My apologies. The elimination and conflation of people.
War isn't a good thing, not in general.
No.
But the act of the Crusades is not a Christian conquest of like domination. They're under Islamic rule. They're under jizya law. They were under suppression. And eventually they said enough and fought back.
Okay. But do you not have thou shalt not kill as a tenet of your faith?
It's thou shalt not murder.
Okay. So you're going with the Jude. So that's interesting because that's in and of itself has been an art, because I grew up being taught thou shalt not kill. And then recently we said, well, no, the translation is thou shalt not murder. So now we have two different versions.
That's not recent. That has been the Christian standard for 2,000 years. Right? There are a lot of saints that talk about the act of war being justified.
I mean, Christ didn't teach that. He told people to put away the sword.
Christ said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword.
Yet when one of his apostles drew a sword What did he say to him?
If you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not saying that don't use the sword. It's just saying if you live by it, you will die by it.
And then why when Christ was tempted by the devil, did he say he was not going to take up, but live a peaceful?
He never said that.
He never said he was going to conquer, or that he wouldn't conquer.
No, he never said what you're saying. When he was tempted by the devil, he never made a claim that I'm never not going to do anything. I'm just going to be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say that.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't want to declare war. See, my thing is, that's the thing where I draw my break, right? Is that I think that
you think that there's never a time to justify war?
I personally take a position of nonviolence, non-cooperation.
Well, here's the thing: if everyone followed Christian morals, there'd never be a time to justify war. So we'd never have war. We could say that, but again, you think there's never a time to justify war?
Well, but according to what you're saying, though, that thou shalt not murder, so why wouldn't they go to war? If there was a disagreement between two branches of Christianity,
but you're dodging my question. Do you think there's ever a time to justify war?
I personally, no, I don't like war.
Right. So okay. So you think if all of a sudden Schmittler came back and we had Schmittler 2.0 and he's torturing and killing people over a cross, that we shouldn't do anything about it?
I think we should do something about it. I think we should non-cooperation, non-violent non-cooperation.
So you think, and then he comes over to us and wants to do the same to us, and we should just say, okay.
I don't think we should say okay. I think we should fight back, but I don't think it's.
Well, hold on. That's war.
No, because I'm saying fight back in the sense of non-violent non-cooperation.
Gandhiism.
How do you non-violently stop him?
Well, I mean, look at what was happening to the Indians in South Africa, or the Indians in India, or the civil rights movement in the United States. How violent were they against them?
You're not answering my question.
Say the question again.
How do you non-violently stop them?
Oh, you can create barricade systems to slow them down. You can create like the German youth who created systems to prevent.
Right. That's not going to work. And so I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Me and my wife are both combat fighters, right? We both fought in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
Abby, if all you do is defend yourself when somebody comes to attack you, how long can you do that for?
Are there rules?
The rule is they attack you. The only thing that you can do is defend. You can't attack.
But like they're not following the rules of sport.
They're not. They're just full on doing whatever they want. They mean to attack you.
Maybe a couple minutes.
Maybe a couple minutes, right?
So
she's a literal expert in hand-to-hand combat. I'm not even just saying that to big her up.
I know, I believe it.
Now you can implement as many systems as you want. If all you're doing is defending, they will eventually get through and get to you.
Okay, so here's a couple questions I have. First off, you're talking about a cage scenario, so you've actively chosen to go into that environment.
No, we're just talking like.
I'm not talking about in a cage scenario. I'm talking about we've been in cage scenarios, so know what it's like. So we know what it's like when somebody fully comes at you intending to do you harm. Hold on, let me land the plane. The plane. And I've also been a bouncer for 10 years. Right? So I know what it's like when fully come to do me harm. If all you do is defend, and we know because we've been in situations where all you can do is defend, you eventually lose.
Okay, so let me ask this question. So cage fighting, I'm assuming we're talking like MMA and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so grapples are a thing, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you incapacitate somebody without doing them harm in the sense of breaking them, killing them, anything like that? Can you stop them from hurting you?
Not if they've all got weapons.
No.
Oh no, I'm just talking about in the example that was given was a cage fight.
In a perfect scenario where it's me against another person and I am the far skilled fighter, yes, I could incapacitate them without actually hurting them. But that's not a perfect scenario, is it? So for example, I have a coach who literally fought in the UFC. If he comes at me and is intent to do me harm, it is impossible for me to stop him without hurting him. Impossible. Literally impossible.
Okay. So I guess that's the difference, right? I personally I will not go if I believe there is an afterlife, which I personally do, but if I did, um, if I go before them and say I took somebody's life, that soul is now in my hands.
No.
That
Their
elimination
soul
is
is
on
on
my
their
hands.
hands. They intended to do you harm.
Well, we have no idea what led to that scenario.
That doesn't matter. And we have Christian worldviews on this and Christian commandments on this. So for even example, in the Old Testament, it says straight up that if someone breaks in your house in the daytime, you are not to harm them. But if they do it at nighttime, you can, simply based off the fact that you do not know what their intent is on whether or not they do you harm.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an example of that specific scenario. So again, if everybody lived to the Christian worldview, there would be no war because none of us would seek it out. Right? But let's say only like North America lived by the Christian worldview and other countries didn't. I think we'd still be better because we'd also be obligated to protect the innocent. And that's an obligation that we'd have a moral ought that we should seek out and do.
So protect the innocent, but in a war, innocent suffer.
There is a cause that happens, right? Sometimes innocents die. But also, if you don't go protect the innocents, more innocents are going to die.
Well, I guess you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, then.
No, I'd argue that you're not damned if you do, because if you you're going to do something that is morally good and protect the innocent, right? And it's a self-sacrificial system.
Well, the innocent that you have established, you have said this is the innocent that I choose to protect.
Your goalpost shifting.
Huh?
Goalpost shifting. Can we both agree that there are types of innocent people?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so let's say there's a person, there are people out there that we both agree are innocent. Doesn't matter what the standard is, and there's a group of people who are intending to do them harm. Are we obligated to protect them?
Protect them is a very it's an excellent question. I would need more time to think on that one. So, yeah, no, I think I struggle with it because I just think there are other opportunities to.
Have you ever been in a fight?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Tons of them. I almost can I be honest with you?
I
almost killed somebody.
Okay.
I watched them turn purple before my eyes.
Okay.
I put them in a headlock, and they had been hitting me with a lacrosse stick in gym class, and my back was covered in bruises and scars.
Okay.
I almost ended a young man who ended up in the military and is now a decorated officer. He went to West Point. I almost ended his life. He has children. He has a wife. Now, we had disagreements, but I could have ended his life that day, and then I would be in jail, and I would have taken a life. But ultimately, that life
because you used excessive force.
Correct. But at the end of the day, I learned that it wasn't the right thing to do, as you and I both
agree. Don't use excessive force, but sometimes that's the only option.
Okay.
What if you were choking him and he started pulling out a knife, he started stabbing you?
Then, at that point in time, in that point in my life, I probably would have finished it.
And you would have been right to do so.
That's where you and I disagree, because I think
you think it would have been better to let go of him and let him stab you?
Nowadays, I mean, I think everybody has an opportunity for forgiveness. I think that's a strength in Christian teaching.
100%. Yeah.
But I don't think it's my place to play, just as you have said, you say
it's not a judgment call. You're not judging them. It's not a judgment base. It's just protecting yourself.
But that's the thing, though. In that's the higher calling that you talk about with Christianity. Christ never killed anybody.
Yes, he did.
Who did Christ kill?
Well, there's two people in the New Testament that decided not to give when they promised to the temple and they dropped dead right on the spot. That's because of Christ's will. Christ is also God, right? So every person that God has killed was Christ.
Oh, okay. So we're going with the Holy Trinity in one mentality then. Okay. That's
Gabriel came in with $5, says, how are you going to forgive someone who has taken your life? Fair point. Anyways, bro, we've been going on a hot minute.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me the time and the platform, and I appreciate the banter. I've got a lot of things to think about, and thank you so much.
No problem. God bless. Oh, real quick, are you an atheist?
No, I'm not.
What are you?
I don't really have a nomenclature for it.
Okay.
I've researched and been a part of a lot of different religions, and I've never quite found my footing. So,
all right, man. Well, I appreciate your time then. God bless.
Have a good one.
All right, Abby, entertain the masses because I'm gonna get my pants.
Okay. Hello. Hello, people. I don't really know how to entertain people. That's John's kind of thing. So that's her thing. Why? I don't really want to eat garlic. Does it have to be like fresh garlic? Because I don't own fresh garlic. I only get the pre-chopped stuff. Sanjay, grow up, my friend. I'm wearing shorts. I mean, John and I could show you a takedown, but there's not a lot of space and the floor is hard. Did you listen to Patriotic Z's song yet?
No, I looked for it yesterday. I even made a comment about where it was and no one responded. I'm like, where is it? I couldn't find it. Did you post it in the music? And what's your name on Patreon? Or not Patreon,
also,
Discord. What?
Fresh Bueller has a cat named Jerry.
Oh.
I think that's like the best.
Tom and
that's
Jerry.
That's like equal to Bert. It's a good cat.
It's a good cat name. Whoa! Tommy Thompson, also a hell of a name. Just came in and gave $200.
That's crazy.
Thank you so much, Tommy
Press
Thompson.
The
button. This one?
Money, 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 money.
This one?
Bruh.
This one? And then this one because he's an angel.
He's so cute.
Tommy Thompson. Send me your address and I will send you the nudes. I mean, you just paid for them, so that's the least I could do.
Whoa!
I will send you.
I don't think he was asking for them.
I will send. Okay, send me. Reverse. Everybody else send me your address, and then you also need to pay $200, and then I will stop sending you nudes. So, everybody else also pay $200 to unsubscribe.
Make it stop.
to my nude channel. Tommy, thank you very much. That was very kind of you, very generous. JJ came in with $2, says, oh no, I clicked the wrong one, said, Tommy, that's my weekly pay. JJ, you need a better job. $200 a week? What is that an hour if you're working 8 hours a day? Hold on. Let me get the calculator out here.
He could be a kid.
Maybe. That's true. That's true if you just got like a part-time job. But I just curious, like, okay, you're working, okay, so what? How many? Okay, hold on. 8
Typical work week is
times 5, 40 hours. I knew that.
Yeah.
200 divided by 40. You give him $5 an hour.
No way. Well, see, it's gotta be a part-time job.
Bro works in a third world country.
Or that.
Maybe. Could be a terrible criminal. Bro works in prison. Works in the prison system. All right. All right, guys. Before we jump on, we'll do one more guess and then we'll call it a day.
Daniel says maybe he works 2 hours a week.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's $100 an hour. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So real quick, let's have a quick gander to see where we're at.
He says part-time student.
Part-time student. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Everybody go watch this latest video I put out right here. I tried 5 Islamic miracles. Here's what happened. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Doing pretty good. First 3 hours, we're at 2,000 views. But I want to get it to 10,000 by the end of the night. 10,000 by the end of the night. So I need you to share it with your family. I need you to watch it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. We put a lot of work into this video. And this video is great. It's one of my most favorite videos that I've made. One of my most favorite videos that I made. So please go watch it.
Killed it.
The editor killed it. Joseph, if you're watching this, man, you were 90% of that video.
Literally.
90, like he did such a good job.
90%.
Such a good job he did. So everybody, W's for Joseph in the chat. W's for Joseph because he killed that. All right, let's bring up another. Yes, Abby?
We're like the Trinity of your videos because he's like the Holy Spirit can't see that he's there.
So does that make you the Father?
No, I think that's
and I'm Jesus?
No, I think
You're Jesus? Abby just declared herself as Jesus, ladies and gentlemen.
For a little bit.
Abby just declared herself as Jesus. That's what she just did. Everybody boo Abby. Boo heretic Abby. Heretic Abby. Boo Abby. All right, let's bring in a guest.
I thought it was funny.
It is funny. Mm-hmm. Patrick Z came in with $5, says, sent the song in chat. Also, Abby, how can you not cry from the Quran? It is proof, you see.
I should have cried because it's so bad.
Potato, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, give me 2 seconds and I will bring you in. All right, if everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
First of all, like I want to ask, like, what is the Christian moral? Because like I think that Christian moral is the whole Bible, but I just saw like J. Smith, the one who say about trying to prove that Muhammad is fake, saying that he did not follow Moses from the Old Testament and he just followed the New Testament. So I'm kind of wondering, what is the Christian the moral first?
Real quick, Cambix came in and said, unsubbed, wasn't me who's the last pick, missed out.
Come back again.
I don't pick people. I don't pick people, bro.
They know.
It's literally in sequence.
I told them.
But anyways, unsub. See you later.
Have a good day. Just disappointed.
Have a good day. So anyways, you can summarize the Christian moral system into the 10 Commandments.
Okay, so we are taking the Old Testament and
no, the 10 Commandments would be considered natural law.
Okay. I think that I think my only objection is about the fact about if everybody's follow the Christian moral, there will still be violence. Like,
no, if everyone followed the Christian moral, there would be no violence because everyone's following the Christian moral.
Yeah, but I don't really see like a commandment or like a moral about violence in the Bible. There's one.
You should not. Commandment number 5: you shall not kill.
Yes, that's killing, not violence. I mean,
so the Christian moral standard is that you shouldn't put violence or cause harm to other people, right? And the summary is in the 10 Commandments, but it's fleshed out when Jesus gives 1,053 commandments in the New Testament, and there's also 2,000 years of tradition on top of that.
Okay, so I did see,
and that also, somebody made a good point in the chat. That's also encapsulated in love your neighbor, right? You don't love people that you do violence to.
Yeah, but you can say that violence can come from a love purpose. That's why we have a saying
but violence would come from love if somebody was not acting out Christian morals. And then a violent act could be a loving act in that situation. But the argument here is if everybody acted out Christian morals, the world would improve.
I kind of disagree because like I saw, for example, it's like child. Uh, can I say abuse?
Well, you should not abuse children if you're Christian.
Yeah, but I think I say something like Proverb 13:24, whoever spares the rod hates their children.
Yeah, so the heart of that, because the old law is not given, and that's not a law for one. That's just a proverb, and that's just wisdom. So the old law and the proverbs are given as judicial wisdom, as an understanding, and that's just talking about keeping your children disciplined. And I think 110%. The world is going to be far better with children that are disciplined than children that are not. I see this happen all the time because I teach children. The children that come in with parents who do not discipline them are less happy and less easy to get along with.
Yes, but you can also say like the same for example, someone who are so disciplined. For example, it's like over disciplined. You can say, for example, a parent can love their child and then like because and they love their child so much they want them to be the best, so they push them to be the best.
You're
And
just saying abuse now. You're just saying they're taking the word discipline and pushing it to the form of abuse. Again, this is if they live out the Christian worldview. You cannot give me a standard where somebody's not living out the Christian worldview and saying then that's wrong, because then my argument still works, it still wins.
so you're saying that violence is okay, but we cannot go to abuse
I
territory.
didn't say violence is okay at all. I said the heart of that is disciplining your children, right? It's a proverb.
But can it be through violence, for example? Like the rod thing?
To a certain extent, but violence is subjective, right? If my child is constantly pushing something off the table and I grab their hand firmly, to that child it might be seen as something violent. But if I do that to an adult, it's not seen as something violent. So it's a subjective standard, I guess. But violence in itself isn't inherently just wrong.
Ah, I see. But do you think like a corporal punishment is okay?
If everybody
For
lived out
example,
the Christian standard, there would be no capital punishment.
not capital but corporal, like
Or corporal.
mm, but for yeah, that kind of makes sense. Why is corporal punishment would be like uh,
What is
outlawed
there to
in the
punish
world?
if everybody's living out the standard?
Uh, Once someone was because I don't really think that we can't we can live like Jesus, because Jesus we can like perfectly live like Jesus, right? But Jesus is like the highest
Right.
moral standard,
So
right?
then I win. So you're saying if we could live to the highest Christian possible standard, the world would be an improvement. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, sure.
Patriotic Z came in and said, dude, intent matters, the use of force matters. Prenum came in, $2 says, Big John, be Catholic. We've got donuts. You're going to need more than donuts to convince me of any denomination in this house. I also might be Catholic. You don't know. Yeah. So it just seems to me that everybody agrees that the Christian moral standard is the way. And then we're just saying we can't do it. So why bother? But I think it's going to be better if we all strive to achieve that goal.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Anyway, I just here because like I'm hungry and I want a taco, so I want to try.
Well, you want a taco that bad, we can get you a
Yeah,
taco. But
it's fine. I will just buy it myself.
all right,
This is
man.
just another time. All right then.
All right, bro. God bless.
God bless.
Oh,
See
real
you.
quick before you go, are you an atheist?
No, I'm a Christian.
All right. God
But
bless.
yeah, see ya.
Freaking Christians. No hate like Christian love. I'm joking. Well, that was quick, so I guess we do have time for another. So let's bring in one more.
That guy, I watch it. It would have been that guy. I bet.
Huh?
I said I bet it would have been that guy.
What guy?
That was sad that they weren't the last one on.
I literally just click in order. I do not pick.
He knows. He's just being funny.
Oh, he's being funny?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I already told him.
I thought he was being serious.
No.
It's really hard to read tone in text. Fat as she. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I can hear you. Let me bring you in.
Was this person on before?
Yeah, he's been on before. If everyone followed Christian morals, the world would be a better place. Prove me wrong when to taco. Go ahead.
All right, man. Dang, actually, I think you're right.
Sweet, another W. Anything else?
Yeah, man, I just got a few questions.
I want to
Just,
talk about what's your questions?
I just they're just like little quick questions. So earlier when you asked, or when you were talking about corporal punishment, are you against that, or just curious?
Corporal? No, I'm not against corporal punishment.
Okay, yeah, I was
Pain
just I mean,
could be a great motivator.
yeah, okay, yeah, I was just curious. And then further, when you were talking about like slavery, as in like specifically in prison, do you mean that in like a is that like a bad thing, or do you just mean like or you just mean like definitionally it's the same?
I think it's definitionally the same. I think it's like it's a tricky, it's like a trolley experiment situation, right? Because owning people is not something that we should do. It's not something that we should seek out. But what do you do with the people that cannot operate in society in a proper way? Well, you have to own them and you have to do something with them. Maybe a better option would be to exile them, right? Maybe that's a better system where instead of owning them, we exile them. We just do not allow them to live with us.
Oh,
That's
dude,
what they did with Australia. So.
Right. No, I still agree with that actually. I think exile is a great idea. I think we should like, execute people more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
I
I mean, like, like
do you want to be the
someone
guy that
who,
does,
like,
hold on, I need to check something. Do you want to be the guy that does it?
if someone raped somebody and we like had 100% proof for sure, so we're not like,
Bro's in
murdering
his
somebody.
Dexter Morgan face. Like he's got this urge to unalive people, but he just doesn't know how to do it ethically, and he's trying to find a system. Like, hey, how can I unalive people and still be a good guy, John? That's what he's asking.
I mean, I don't necessarily want to, but I mean, I would if I don't know, if I was asked to do it, I guess.
All right, guys.
Like,
If we bring back public executions, we got our first volunteer.
Yeah, man.
To do the dirty work.
Hell yeah, man. And then earlier you brought up like in marriage, you said something about like child rearing, like or when you're having like lovey smoochy time, and then you like did did I hear you right when you said that like that's for child rearing specifically, or okay,
But being open to the possibility of it is very important. Patriotic Z came into Buck says, you see, when we bullied Ali Dawa with love, we had 30 some views, but we like trip his numbers saying stuff like Christ is God, calling him greatness, Christian apologist. He banned many, then ended his live. What? But yeah,
I remember that.
Ali Dawa. I didn't bully Ali Dawa. But.
Yeah, man. And then okay, those were just all like quick questions. And then my last one was just when you were talking about like the reason women like have power is because like it's like men give it to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like because I agree that like I don't think women should be like priests and like heads of churches and stuff. But I just didn't really quite understand like your reasoning exactly, I guess, is more what I mean to say.
Well, I'm just saying that we have different points in society and different roles. So one of the things that with men is that we are the possessors of power, right? And so, for example, the reason I'm the head of my household is because of that. Because of in a bad case scenario or in a case scenario where our survival is on the line, it'll be my responsibility to maintain and lead that forefront. And then with that trails to like, well, if I'm a leader in my household, right, it'd be very weird that if I went to a church and I submitted to somebody else's wife, right? So she's submitting to her man, but I'm submitting to her. It's got this like weird dichotomy to it. That's one thing. But also traditionally, people who led churches were also supposed to lead against the wolves, right? And so that was the traditional standard. So they're the
Right.
possessors of power. And also in that specific role, it's not a right. It's not an achievement. It's not something that's held up as like, it should never be a standard where you're like, you're a great guy. Look at how awesome you are. Look at all these rewards you get for achieving it. It's slavery. It's servitude towards the community.
Mm-hmm.
So like this idea that even if I'm wrong about my standard of power, it doesn't improve or disprove society by allowing women into those roles.
Okay, I get you. Does that like besides like the household and church, does that bleed into like other areas? Like maybe, for example, like politics?
No, I think women can be politicians, absolutely, and lead in those types of roles.
Right. Okay. But
Patriarch
like,
Z said, was when Logic and the gang met up with David Wood, debated Alex, he told you to go to Ali's stream to support the Dawa. Still don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you were there for that, John.
I don't think I was.
But okay, yeah. I mean, those are my questions, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. God bless.
God bless.
All right, I think that's. You got like 10 minutes before you normally shut it down. Abby's wanted to shut it down for hours. She hates all of you. She's told me. She's like, I really hate talking to Jan's.
I feel good.
John's chat. I hate that. I hate it so much. I'm so pumped because Apostate Prophet commented on my video, and now I'm just a giggly little boy.
I don't know who that is, but he's pretty big.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Apostate Prophet works with David Wood.
Oh.
And so they're up there. They're up there. Okay. What do you think, Abby? I'm going to leave it up to Abby whether or not we should bring in another guest.
Well, you can, but just don't. I mean, doesn't really make sense if you only got 10 minutes.
Abby does not get sick days. I don't get sick days.
Sometimes.
It's very rare.
Only if you're really sick.
Yeah, if I'm like really sick, I'll take a day off. But I've done so many lives deadly sick. Like this is one of those career paths that like if you don't work, you don't get paid. Nobody pays you for a sick day. You don't get dental work. You don't get none of those things. So like you gotta show up and put the work in.
You can take another one if you want.
No, we'll call it. We'll call it today. That was a good day. We'll call it there, and we'll do a quick little prayer, and then we'll do some plugs. Let me close all these links. But I think so far, guys, the conclusion here is that generally people don't have any issues. Like everybody, no hate like Christian love. Christians are the worst. No one. It's all a bunch of stupid and issues and all those types of things. But really, their only issue is, well, I want to stick my ding dong in places.
They just don't want to not be able to do what they want to do.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it seems like almost everybody collectively agrees that if we all followed the Christian moral system, the world would improve. It would just improve. You can't help my narcissism? Yeah, even if I was a narcissist, it wouldn't change what I was saying. You're being a bigot? Even if I was being a bigot, it still wouldn't change what I'm saying. Like none of these titles that you guys throw at me change the truth of what I'm saying. I could be a narcissist. I could be a homophobe. I could be a bigot. I could be a patriarchal, woman hating, all these types. I could be all those things. All those could be true statements. It still wouldn't change the fact that if we all lived by a Christian moral standard, the world would improve. 110%. 110%. And y'all just don't have any arguments. And so you're scared. You will scared. You will scared yet of making sense. And then people will listen. And then all of a sudden you'll be a Christian nationalist country. And that scares the shit out of you because you like putting your ding dong where you put your ding dong. All right, I gotta stop saying that. All right. All righty. Bring you up. No. Can't make me. Can't make me. Grown man, by the way? I'm not a grown man. I'm a child. Child and grown men. There are no grown men. We're all just children. There are no adults. What is it? Did you guys see that video of like there are no adults, no one's coming to save you? That one guy he's quoting. And he quotes a whole bunch of like really famous, well-known guys. So like, who was it? Steve Jobs started Apple and tried to cure his cancer with carrot juice. Right? Isaac Newton, one of like leading science guys in the world, wrote a whole bunch of books on the pseudoscience of alchemy. There are no adults. They don't exist. They don't exist. There's one place you can put a ding dong. It's in the pantry next to the cereal. Based. Alex O'Connor cooked you so bad. Was funny to see. Well, you've never been cooked by anybody significant because you don't do anything in your life but sit behind the comment section.
Ouch.
Dang, bro. Dang. Keyboard warrior life all day. All day. All day long. I mean, you're never going to get cooked and do anything wrong if you never do anything with your life. Them's facts. I thought trying to cure carrot cancer with juice was smart. Yeah, I agree. I got cooked. 110%. No denial from me. I was the first person to openly say Alex O'Connor cooked me. I don't see any issues with that. That's like going into a jiu-jitsu gym, getting tapped out by the black belt. He didn't tap me out. No, he tapped you out. Alex O'Connor was smarter, more well-prepared, and he cooked me. Let me join. No, can't make me. That's not Christ-like. What's not Christ-like? I think I did fine. I didn't win. John was scared. I was scared. I'm not even going to lie. I was really scared in that situation. 100%. I was terrified. I was literally like shaking. But still went up and did it anyways. Still did it anyways. Next time you bring in the jar, it will be different. What jar? What are you talking about? I don't get it. All right, let's do a quick prayer. Our Father is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, thank you for this day. I ask that you use this day to show people who you really are and what the standard is you have for us. Lord, often us as Christians can misrepresent you poorly, but if we can remind people that we are not you and we are not Christ, but instead we are just the ones pointing to you, I think this would be better. Our goal is to be lights in this world, but we fall short every day. For our flesh is weak, but our spirit is willing. You are good. Continue to guide us. Continue to give opportunity to share the gospel and be more Christ-like. Allow the Holy Spirit to move through us, forgive us of our sins, be patient with us, and give us grace. Bless everybody in the chat, those who come against us, those who are for us. Just show them who you are, Lord. That's all we ask at the end of the day. And let us see it sometimes, because it's really cool when we get to see it. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Testing the text with Bueller. Said, God bless you and Abby Burt. Keep killing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ro is monetizing Sky Daddy. 110%. 110%. Send me more of your money, ladies and gentlemen. Send me your money. Do it, please. Do it. I need some more of that money. I need all of it. It's no point. I'd stop fighting the whole argument about you're only doing it for money. Just live into it. I am what you say I am at the end of the day. Gabriel came in with the money sticker. John, how's my sleep lately? It's improved, but it's not great. It's definitely better than it was when I was staying up late at night, but it's not great. I still wake up frequently. I still have crazy nightmares because of the sleep apnea. And I'm very tired throughout the day, but it has improved and God is still good. All right, guys, go follow me on all platforms. YouTube is my primary platform at Big John Steele. There's two places that you can go if you want to support. The one that we're really pumping is our Patreon. We're offering 2 packages on Patreon right now. So our first package is you'll get access to our Tuesdays and Thursday lives that are members only right now. So when we're live, anybody can watch it, but when we're not live, it's sent to members only. But also you can support on Patreon where we get a bigger cut and you'll get access to those videos as well for $4.99 a month. That's the United States. But if you want a little bit more, you can support with the Knights Templar package at $19.99. This you'll get access to those hangouts as well. And you'll get our daily devotionals, which we do Monday through Friday. It's me personally going through the scripture verses by verses, giving a scholarly input, historical input, like a culture, a church scholar input, church father input, sorry. And then church tradition, not always fathers. My goodness. And then also giving my own input on it as well. Plus, you'll get a bare minimum of a 1 exclusive video for you a month with the goal of 2, but at least 1, you'll get that. So those are your options there. You can also obviously support through Super Chats, and you can support through becoming a member on YouTube as well. And then if you are for us, then how can you be against us? Yeshua Akbar. Based. We're going to hang out on YouTube for about 5-10 more minutes. So if you have any more questions or anything you want to say, head over to there. Link is in the bio. Outside of that, we will be live again for the debates on Friday. We'll be doing the hangout session tomorrow, most likely, if everything goes well. And then once again, I want to remind everybody, go watch our latest video right here. I tried 5 Islamic miracles. Here's what happened. One of them involves a cow. And I'm not talking about y'all ex-wives.
Wow.
I'm just joking. But yes, go watch that video. I think it's one of our better videos that we've ever done. I'm very proud of it. So please go watch that. Make sure you leave a like and a comment and all those types of things. With that being said, we're going to leave TikTok for now. God bless. Have yourself a great day.
Bert was a paid actor.
He got paid with treats.
He did.
He got paid with them treats.
Garrett said, I think it's funny you started going live every day, dialed it back to 3 days a week, and now you're streaming every day again.
Yeah, but the Tuesdays, Thursdays aren't as hard on my mental because I'm not debating people. So the hardest part with going live 5 days a week was these types of conversations. And one of the reasons I'm not really interested in bad faith conversations because you get so drained with everybody talking down to you all the time and talking poorly about you and just like, it really like weighs on you. And that's why like 5 days a week was a bit much. Cause like go 5 days a week where you're literally guaranteed somebody's going to tell you how awful you are. And it just like, it's a lot. So cutting it down to 3 days a week was tolerable. I can handle that. And then the Tuesdays and Thursdays is just chilling with you guys. And you guys are awful to me no matter what. So I'm just used to it. But yeah, you can absolutely ask a question in the chat. We Christians, no ex-wives based. You misread it, John. What did I misread? Your super chat? Let's try again. If you're for us, then who can be against us? Yeshua Akbar. If you are for us, I think I read it. We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you. We pay to be awful to you. True. Sean Bessity says, you're doing better at dodging bad faith arguments, but also good at leaving a couple going too long for content. Nice balance. I thank you, John. That's actually the goal, right? Because sometimes you need a bad faith content for entertainment. So you got to have that balance. But if all you have is bad faith content, then you become a bad faith debater because all you're doing is arguing in bad faith. And that's how everybody sees you. So I think it's there should be a stream tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's a good balance. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:3. Yeah.
We get that. What's the other part? I don't get what we're not getting.
If you are for us, then you can't be against us. Yeshua Akbar.
So Jennifer asked her question.
When
we say evil doesn't have ontology, what exactly do we mean by that, and why do we say that?
Okay, so ontology is like the study of like what is real, what actually exists, things, properties. When we say evil doesn't have ontology, is that we're saying evil doesn't actually have a property. It doesn't actually exist. It doesn't have like metaphysics in the world. Garrett came in with the money. Garrett, you're a great guy. Thank you for your money. I love it when you guys give me your money. So yeah, there's no ontological properties to evil, right? It's a negation of what is good. A great example of this is that darkness doesn't have any properties. There is no properties of darkness. You cannot measure darkness. Like you could see it, but what you're seeing is the absence of something. So darkness doesn't technically exist. It's the absence of something that does exist, which is light. Light has actual properties. It has photons. It like bounces off things. So like a photon from the sun will bounce off the ground and hit your eye, and then your eye registers what the information the photon's giving you. When you see darkness, your eye isn't registering anything because there's nothing landing in your eye. It's nothingness. So your brain registers it as blackness. And so when we're talking about evil, evil is the privation of what is good. So if you have an arm, I lop off your arm, you've now lost your arm. You wouldn't say, I have no arm. Like you could say that, but like when you say I have no arm, you're not talking about like you own no arm. You're saying the arm is not there. It doesn't exist. And that's something that would be evil. So anything that's evil is the privation of what is good, right? You've taken something away from somebody. So things like grape. Grape is like a abhorrent evil in the world. And one of the reasons it's the most abhorrent evil in the world is you've taken away somebody's power fully from them. You've taken it away. They have lost their dignity, their power, their self-respect. You've taken that all away from them. And so this is a privation. It's a privation of what is good. And what is good is for somebody to have those powers. I hope this answers your question. Yeshua Akbar equals Jesus is the greatest. Yeah, I know that. I think I get it. But if there's a joke, I'm missing it. Right? Allah Akbar is God is the greatest. Yeshua, Jesus, Akbar, Jesus is the greatest. Right? So if you're for us, then who can be against us? Jesus is the greatest. I get it. I think so. Everyone, we can disappoint Than. We just put John in a higher tax bracket. Actually, I don't want to go. I want to hit a certain balance where I don't hit that higher tax bracket. And I'm not saying this to coerce you guys or gaslight you into giving money. I really want to have that balance where I'm just under that tax bracket. Like I'm not a greedy guy. I just want enough that I could pay our bills, make sure that our house is safe, have good income, enjoy the occasional bevy, maybe buy the occasional video game for personal stuff, go to the occasional tournament. But outside of that, we're very frivolous people. Is frivolous right, Abby? Am I using that word right?
No.
No, the other way.
Frivolous is that you spend money.
Right, the
without
opposite
thinking.
of that. We're cheap. We're very, very cheap people. So I'd be very happy if we were just under that tax bracket and we just had enough to cover all frugal. Thank you. We just had enough to take care and also to give when it's needed, because you can't give if you don't have. That's another thing too. That's all you need in life. That's all you need. Unfortunately, Canada takes half of everything. It's crazy. You know what's my most embarrassing moment in my life is when I found out you have to pay house taxes forever. That was really that was really embarrassing because we bought our house and we thought we paid the taxes on it, and we're like, okay, we own the house, we paid the taxes, and then we found out then we got a bill in the mail that we had to keep paying the taxes, property taxes, and it says we had to pay it 3 times a year. And I called the lady and I'm like, we already paid the taxes when we bought the house. And the lady was like, oh, sweetie. Oh, dear. Oh, you didn't know. You didn't know, did you? You got to pay this forever, sunshine. What? I already bought the house. Well, what am I paying property taxes for?
Property taxes is a scam.
It's a full on. I bought the damn house. I paid the tax. And now I got to pay taxes forever just for owning it?
Just because you own it.
That's why that was wild to me. And the lady on the phone was just like, why are you calling me? Like I was like, I already paid this. Bro, that's wild, bro. You own the house and you just pay taxes. Why? Why am I paying taxes on it? Anyone got an answer for that? No one's got an answer for that. It's the craziest thing in the world. All right, guys, please pray for Abby and her sickness, and we will see you all tomorrow. God bless.